Welcome everyone. This is Evelyn and I have so many messages to bring you. The downloads have been kind of crazy. The energy has definitely lightened up between yesterday and today. A few days before that, it was a little bit tough as far as the energies, as we have talked about in the last videos. And I have three major messages of the day. If you can't listen to them all, at least listen to the last message of the day of the three. There's three big ones. And then this is the 3-deck twin flame read. I actually did 4 decks today for the twin flames, and that will be at the end, as well as oracles after that. So let's first take a few deep breaths, and certainly you can scroll by if you don't want to. Let's go ahead and take a few deep breaths. Breathe in. Another deep breath. And one more deep breath. Sending lots of love and blessings out to everybody. I hope you're doing really well. It was a beautiful day here today. The sun was shining, it was warm, the energy was better, and got some cleaning done yesterday, so it really felt good today. Thank you so much for joining me today as well. I want to get right in since there's so many messages that came through. Let's go ahead first and roll the die, see what comes up for the twins. Today is the 23rd, I believe, of February 2023, February 23rd for the twin flames. And we have the number 6 here, which is the lovers, which is Gemini. Also June is Gemini, so Gemini energy is coming up there, as well as the twins, a lot about communications, along with Sagittarius here. So there's very expansive energy with Sagittarius. The Archer with trajectory is very important today, as well as just that energy of Sagittarius in general, of lighting that fire under your butt to get things going. And then we have Aquarius here too, Uranus, but that's Aquarius. So sudden events or happenings are just Aquarian energy. Water comes up with this, as well as laughter, as the children are getting ready for spring. So we have Gemini, Sagittarius, which are on the same axis, and then Aquarius coming up. So there's a lot of air there with 2 mutables and a fixed sign. Okay, so let's get going. So before I get into the first read, there's definitely some messages that came up. So I've been doing some clearing every night when I go to bed. And as I've said on the last video, each night a different chakra system will come up. Definitely the throat chakra has been coming up to clear. And I'll get messages, I'll see things that are important. Definitely the months were coming up, which I'll get into in a minute, and then the 12 chakras came up, and I'll bring that up too. I have a picture I drew to show you that came up as I was falling asleep. And then, oh, this was interesting too. I watched the movie Tucker, which is an old movie, but it's about an automobile maker who never actually got his line off the ground because of the powers that be. But it was so weird because he was able to get his hands on a huge facility. And when the Ohio thing came up, not with the train, but with the metal plant explosion, the plant in the movie looked exactly like the picture of the plant in Ohio. So there's some kind of connection there. So you might want to watch the movie Tucker to see if anything comes up for you there. And also, I saw myself as a being with 6 toes. And 6 fingers, I think, on the hands too. They were just positioned a little bit differently. So I was looking for anything with 6 fingers, and of course humans sometimes have a 6th finger, but it wasn't a human hand or foot. And so I looked through Elena Danan's book to see if any of the beings that she drew in her book have 6 fingers, and I did find one, so I'm going to bring that up as well, because I was seeing myself as that. And then I was also seeing myself another night with moccasins on, you know, more modern day, even like 20th, 21st century. And then I just noticed yesterday, after having that dream a couple nights ago, my daughter's moccasins sitting by the table were just like the ones I saw on my feet in the life that I was going into. So there's a lot of different interesting twists that came up this week. Let's see here. So when I came into my throat chakra as I was doing my meditation before I was going to sleep, so it's a very relaxed time for me, so I get into a very good place, which is why I do it before I go to sleep. Let's see, this was the 19th. First, my heart was feeling more stressed than my lungs, because I'd already been in the lungs and throat chakra, and it was taking me back to my heart, and that's when I went into the 6 toes, 6 toes, and they were black fingernails, like an ape would have black fingernails. They were flat like a human though. So they weren't like a bird's black nails or something like that, but they were black and flat, so more ape-like energies. And then the foot or hands were brown. I'm not positive it was furry or not, but it may have been brown hair, but it was definitely brownish. And I also saw like a dog with a helmet on, and elephants trumpeting and screaming, and then a whole lot of other images I just didn't remember that night. So on the 20th, I did some scribing to see what kind of energies were coming up, and definitely seismic energies were coming up, so earthquakes, and again, earthquakes happen every day around the world. It's a normal thing for the earth to have quakes, but usually they're small and they're insignificant, and of course sometimes there are bigger ones that then can hurt people. But seismic energies were definitely coming up here. And gestic, the word gestic came up, which is like was coming up like oh, that was coming up from JP on Michael Sala's video, gestic. The guide that he was talking about was a tall guide called Gestic. I'm not sure if that's the exact name, but that's what I was getting from what he said. And I was getting this energy from gestic as like saying Y-E-S, but Jess, you know, in a different accent, gestic, like Jess, like you're saying yes, but Jess. And then 1441 came up, wrestler came up, measles, mumps, rubella came up. That's been coming up a couple times in the past week or so. And I was doing crossbody stretches in bed too, which are really good. You know, putting your leg one way and then your arms and your head the other way to really do that cross stretch into your waist and your shoulders, your armpits, because if you don't stretch a lot, you're going to feel a lot of stretch in your armpits. Let's see, the other energies that came up then the Pope came up in my scribing, and so Elohim were coming up, and the Pope was coming up as the Pope, but in other ways too, because I used to call my dad affectionately Poopy, but not as poop, but as, because there was I forget what it was I was reading, I can't find it again, but there was a document that literally spelled the Pope's name in that language as P-U-P-E, or P-U-P-I, I forget what it was, but that's the version of poopy I was using, not as in poop, as in going to the bathroom. It was more of a P-U with an accent and then P-I. But I could never find that in definitions again. However, I know I read it in an article because I found it more than once. But it always comes up with the Pope. My father will come up because I called him Poopy. And then also my maiden name is Cope, which is Pope with a C instead of a P. So there's this interesting play on that, how they came up in referencing the ope versus pope and cope. And of course, cope is a regular word as well, like I can't cope with this. And the moose and elk came up again, where the moose was the definition in the US, but in Britain it was the elk, which is the group, whereas the moose is the two. Let's see, and then Justy was coming up with to eat and consume, but also justice, and the energy of what we take in to our eyes, to our nose, to our mouth, to our psyche. And what else is coming up on this page? Joseph and Joshua were coming up, as well as Rhombus and Los Angeles, and then again angels in general were coming up with Los Angeles. And OPE, it means by threes or 3 by 3. It also means study or learning, and also can mean hope. It is white, open, narrow, passage, flatbread, and also the month April is OPE and teacher. So this is where I got into the cope versus pope, and also the months since April was coming up. And so there's a lot that came up around that. So now that we have the definition of OPE and adding the P and the C to it, the way this came up was the C, of course, for me is the Christ consciousness as well as the whispering bench. And the P can be housing and the masculine energy, so more masculine rule, the Papa versus the Christ consciousness, right? So the humanness versus the non-human Christ consciousness on the whispering bench of cope, as in coping with something, versus pope being the head of something. And then April came up, like I said, teacher and study, which is teacher and student. And also that marriage passageway came up in multiple definitions the past few days. And the energy of poop, the closest thing I found was P-O-U-P-E-E, which is poop, poupe, P-O-U-P-E-R, which means to save, to spare, to touch softly, to care, to feel. And then bud also came up. And other England energies were coming up on that page as well. So then from April, they were taking me into the months. And so March is coming up, so it's very significant. And the way it was coming up was April first, because April's coming up is that OPE definition, which has to do with being open, a narrow passageway of being the teacher and the student and studying and learning, but also by threes or 3 by 3, like tri-ope. But cope is the same because C is 3, so it's the same thing as tri-ope, which is by threes or 3 by 3. So April is the energy of Venus and the mother, and Mother May I was coming up. And so March was coming up as Mars and the father. And again, men from Mars and women from Venus. So then Juno comes up as the child because Juno is young. And the symbol for Juno is basically a star or an asterisk head and then the plus sign below. Also Queen Hera comes up as June. And then going into July, which I always get as the Jews lie, but also Julius Caesar comes up in July, and Jupiter, and all the different variations of Julius, Lulius, Lovilios, Iulius, and Jove, dais of Zeus, and expression of surprise and amazement, Jupiter, god of the sky. And of course, August is then Caesar as well as the Augustus energy, right? So Julius Caesar and then Caesar Augustus, or Octavianus. And August is also awe-inspiring, majestic, noble, venerable, of noble birth. And then, of course, August is AU, which is gold, so that gust of gold. The noble clown as well, right? Like Leo is the child, the noble clown, to ripen and bring to realization by being that child, but using it as an adult in your nobility. allows things to ripen and bring things to realization. And then Saturn came up as well with lead and metal, since Jupiter came up. And then lead was also coming up as a leader, to lead. Heavy, bright, bluish metal. I never think of lead as bluish, but that's the way it's described. And then I remember, I think it was Elena Denon who said that in the 8th density that the Earth becomes metal. So OPE means open, narrow passage, teacher, learning, study, hope, and April. And by number. So C by 3 or P by 3. And so Cope comes up as C, which is 3. So 3 by 3. And then Pope is P, which is the 16th letter. So 16 is the tower. So referencing the Christ consciousness versus the tower house of man. The C word of C, Ope, which is the whispering bench, open to Christ consciousness, and April, which is Venus. And then Pope by 16, the tower house of man, with sudden events, fear, and man's world. So in completing the months, we'll get into that too, because we only went March through August. But January means thirst, Janu, and then February is feverish. So it's the thirst that starts in January, the February fever that leads into this March of Mars, and then April Venus, where February also means rejection and abandonment. So feeling like the end of the winter as we go to the spring, letting whatever's dead or dying finally slough off for the spring to come through. So since Cope was coming up, Copi was coming up as well, C-O-P-I, which comes up in what word? I always see it when I see a certain word. I can't remember what the word is though. But C-O-P-I is, you know, my brothers were called Copi because their last name was Cope. But literally C-O-P-I can also mean to copy. It means to copy, but it's the same thing as C-O-P-Y. So to copy or a copy book, a duplicate, to crib, imitate, to produce something identical. A member of Copai, C-O-P-E-I, which is the Copaba tree, South American tree, where Elior resin is extracted, varnish, ointment, and perfume fixature, and Social Christian Party or Green Party in Spanish, and Christian Democratic Party in Venezuela came up there as well as the fish, which look, the strain of fish, the tetrafish, is like Monkhousia, M-O-E-N-K-H-O-U-S-I-A, which as soon as you look at it, you see monk and house. So again, the monk in their house. Peaceful and sociable, thriving in groups, a silver, yellow, gold, and red fish with touches of red. And then the word J-O-U came up as the vowels came up, A-E-I-O-U. So J-O-U is you, yoke, juice, day, he, to find, obtain, I, as in I am, you, your, Lord, God, Sultan, to call, to give, I, God, and you came up. And again, these are words that came up from my scribing as well, like J-O-U. But J-O-U is also coming up as yes and Jess. So Jew was coming up as you as well. And I-O-U, the word I-O-U. And that's what brought me to A-E-I-O-U, which is all the vowels, of course. And A-E is ash, which also means bright light in Pleiadian. And of course, you know I-O-U, and this is the way it came up. So I also looked up J-I-O-U, which is mushroom. I-O-U means me and you, and I, ego, EO, and EU. So January's thirsty, February's feverish, due to the year of reflection and abandonment. The bee, the spleen, to Mars and Venus, men and women to procreate in June, with young men growing young men growing with surprise and amazement, because the young men growing beards were coming up as July, so like the teen. And then August was coming up as the feminine teen, whereas the July was the masculine teen, you know, becoming a man and then becoming a woman. So with surprise and amazement, to play in the sky as gold gust in the Golden Gate, or JC octave, anus, and the 8 path of clearing the poop through the Golden Gate. And then UST came up as the door, the mouth, the supervisor as well. And where's Julie? And July also comes up as the jewel at the Y in the road before August, which is the gold gust. So keep all this in mind. So the noble clown, which is that Leo energy of becoming an adult, to ripen and bring to realization as the leader, the young women coming of age, the door, the mouth, the supervisors, the visor, right, the vision, to shade from the sun. September, remember, is not actually 9, but 7 of septum, and then Ber for September, October, November, December, where of course September is 7, October is 8, November is 9, and December is 10. So the gold of the Golden Gate in August, which also brings up my 698 pod, with the 7 being the key, because we have August, Lion's Gate is 8-8, to the 9-9 of September, and then 66 is the Golden Gates of the 2 spirals of the 698 pod, with the 7 being the key. And that becomes the 2 peas in a pod. October is the 7.1, the bow and arrow, the snake uncovered or discovered, to see, be, give, and carry. And this all has to do with the word Ber. So each month, September, October, November, December, is 7 point of the bow and the arrow, so both sides of the coin. The snake uncovered, discovered, to see, be, carry. And also embers come up, which is ash, which is bright light. So again, talking about the 0 point, the bow and arrow coming together, or the embers at death of 7, 8, 9, and 10, as we go from the key to the dance to the ending of 9 of November, and then the 10, which is on to the next, right? 10 is on to the next cycle. It's the 1 again, but going through the 0 or source energy first. So Ber not only means bow and arrow, but it also means the whip snake, which is a reference to the Kundalini. Bare, naked, uncovered, the little cradle in a ship. Berry, discovered, to see, be, foxtail, millet, to give, one, to bear and carry. So August to September brings that 698 pod with the 7 key. September 7 is Uranus with ideas. Give me 1 second, you guys. I got something stuck on my shirt. Hold on. And it's new, so I don't want to mess it up. Oh, come on. It's really hooked in there. There's a message for you. I'm trying not to pull the strings out of the shirt. I don't understand why it's sticking in there still. Sorry, you guys. Give me 1 second. Maybe I can get this out. Got it. Okay. Did I pull the string? Well, it's not too bad, a little bit. Well, I'm going to take this off so I don't do that again. All right, thank you for being patient with me. Okay, so September is 7 with Uranus and ideas. October is the 8 with Neptune and the dream. November is 9 with Pluto and destruction, and that's Scorpio energy. And then December comes up as 10 as the dodeca comes up there, the fitting, the proper decade, the children, the decaf, and over here. And also deca means all senses. And 10 comes up in the chakra system too as kind of like the middle manager between the rest of the lower system, and then 11 and 12. And then 11 is thirst, like I said, is January, and then 12 is actually February, going into Pisces as the fever. The heat of roots with the feet and the 1 and 2 on the ground with the 12th chakra. And the energy is also an alchemy of Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces as the last 3 signs. And the 3 keys of 10, 11, 12. And then the goat came up with that, with the jokester, the laughing jester, the fish, which of course is a reference to Jesus. And then GF came up, which can mean the grand finale, the girlfriend, but also the German agent F, which is the U.S. designation for GF, a nerve gas, cyclosarin, which is cyclohexylmethylphosphanofluoridate. It's a very toxic chemical weapon. And I'm not sure if it was 6-ring or not, but with the hexyl, I was thinking it might be. And then I was just very interested in the chemical composition and the way the pictures looked. They were very interesting. Like the Y in the road came up and the hexagonal shape. And then it looked like 2 people, but kind of insect-like people sitting back to back. So this was coming up from appsdtic.military, MIL, Edgewood Chemical Biological Center, the U.S. Army Research and Development and Engineering Command. It was ECBC-TR-304. And from June of 2009 was vapor pressure of cyclohexylmethylphosphanofluoridate, which is that GF. I'm not going to say it again. So deca means all senses, but I was also getting ready, because to be prepared and getting ready has been coming up nonstop as well. So all senses on with the deca coming up, the 10. So again, with the chakra system, that they're all on, being governed by the 10, where then, according to Ascension Glossary, the 11th comes down to the throat chakra to replace it. And I was getting the 11 as the 2 nostrils. So I'll show you the picture in a minute. Where January's thirsty and getting, ready. So like saying get ready, get set. As deca in December is getting ready, January is getting set and being thirsty. And then we go into February, which is then the fever, right? The fever of spring, because it's not here yet. And inspired here to the 11 of the mouth, with being thirsty, into the fever of the 12, which is that go, like it's go time. Obsessed, addicted, will do at all cost. The fever, to burn through, heat up, or jump through the ring of fire, or in other words, birth. From that energy of going from the fever into the March, spring. The OPE is the April and Venus, the Taurus North Node, leaving Taurus on July 18th, 23. And then the energy of Taurus, Gemini, and Cancer were coming up there. And then Cope being copy and identical twins, the whispering bench of Venus, and the march of the opening narrow passage of the student and the teacher with hope. By March going into April, May, June, July, the 4 to 7 heart to crown chakra was coming up really significantly here. So April, so after basically the spring equinox comes 4 to 7, which is the heart to the crown, but also coming up as that sweet spot of this time period preparing for August. So GF coming up is the grand finale, this period between April and July 18th, when the North Node changes into Aries. The mother child and mother may I, the young male teen is the tiger, and the August female coming in from July in Lionsgate, the lioness coming together 8-8 to the 9-9 window of the 6-9-8 pod, 2 peas in a pod, being the graduation period. And that's come up for me every year, that it's like you have a window to graduate between July and August 8th, and then August 8th to 9-9 is like a dead period where you've graduated, so it's just like a time to rest and kind of gather your strength again. And September, that early September period, was always a place where all of a sudden we'd get cut off and we weren't getting any messages. It felt very isolating because you just felt like you were a regular human again. So this is coming up again, the graduation period, with the 7 being key of July and the septum, because they're both referencing 7, July and septum, of the 7-7-8-8-9-9 6-9-8 pod with the 6-6 golden gate in here, referencing August again, and the masculine twin for July, the feminine twin for August, and the complete pod or mission. So then mission was coming up as misconnection, where S equals O, because it's just O broken open and switched up, right? Like parentheses. But the parentheses not, being on top of each other instead of next to each other. So the O is equal to the S, as it's 2 halves of the O, just separate and one above the other. And miss, as in MIS, is fog and the mist, mass. And remember mist, because that comes up again today. The mass, the dung, the limb, the copper, meso, half. Half is big here too. Half of lots of stuff came up. Mid, middle, mean, average, kitty, and pussycat, the beaver, wrong or missed. Where, what, we, cat, good, miss, and month all came up for miss. And then SION, which is scion, pure, also water parsley, which is also the sprout to split open, which marks spring, the offshoot, the germination, the descendant, the heir to the throne, the guardian, the tip of the fishing rod, which is the tip of Jesus's rod, or in other words, 0 point. The mission being half, the middle, the mid, the mist, the pussy versus the cat, the female and the male, the copper and the month, the sprout to split open, the offshoot, descend, the heir to the throne, the guardian, the unmarried woman connection, of course, in the spring, looking for a man, half descendant and half ascending, the cat and the beaver and the fishing rod, which sounds like a familiar cartoon, doesn't it? Like in a newspaper. The cat and the beaver fishing, which is the cat of the sea of the Christ consciousness and the whispering bench at the 13, which is the transition. And the beaver, which is the B, is the 13, but then the eaves, which is your overhang, right, of your house, or something that protects. The guardians of Jesus's rod and staff. So then my grandmothers were coming up, and as I've told you before, so my mom's mom is Dorothy, my dad's mom is Esther. So Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz always comes up with my mom's mom, and then Esther, of course, referencing Esther in the Bible, and Evelyn and Esther can be synonymous between Hebrew and English. So there's all of that reference coming up. And plus, I'm only going to bring up Ava as my grandniece who passed away her first year of life last year, which was a very sad event. But I'm only bringing up the word Ava because Ava means grandmother. And so it was confirming that my grandmothers were coming in for a reason here. So let's see here. So then this is just a rough picture of what the 6-fingered ET looked like from Alana's, I don't know why I keep saying Alana, it's not Alana, it's Elena Denon, but it's a rough drawing of how long their skull is. You see that? And that's the page number in her book if you want to look at it. But it's called the Matrax, M-A-T-R-A-X in her book, from Delphinus or Alpha Delphinus, and they live like 400 years, and their ships are ovoid shape, and they are part of the Galactic Federation of Worlds. So they are peaceful beings, but they have 6 fingers, And then I was getting, so there's some kind of connection for me between their 6 fingers and then the ape-like 6 toes with black nails that were flat and not sharp. So if anything, any of that comes up as something familiar to you, please let me know in the comments. And then I was getting, with more scribing, the energy of drive back to the water, which was just came up today, was ascending back to the water. So again, this came up before, that the land and the sea are coming together more again. We're going back into the oceans to connect more to our ocean side of ourselves. So on the 21st, which was Tuesday, and today's Thursday, of course, I was listening to Magenta talking to Pam Gregory, who's an astrologer. I'm sure most of you know that. And they were talking about the green fire phoenix and the harbinger regarding the comet that went by, which I don't know much about, but that was coming up for me. And of course, whenever I watch what they're talking about, it brings up more connections for me and what I was getting. So the night of the 21st, when I was doing my meditation, my guides were literally taking me through the chakra systems in a specific order, but I wanted to get up and draw it, but I didn't want to wake myself up because I was falling asleep. So I drew it the next day. So I'm going to show you what they showed me. So it's just a rough sketch. Let's see if I can get that more clear. Okay. So here's a rough sketch of a human body. And again, like just a rough energy of the normal spine and chakra system, and then the Kundalini rising back up this way with the final enlightenment at the top. So we're starting here at the root chakras. These dots are the regular root chakras, 1, 2, 3, 4, going up to the throat chakra, and then out the mouth, and then going around the body and over the crown, but back into then, where am I? Oh, so let me just make sure I'm telling you the right thing. So it went up to the throat chakra. So as we're awakening and the Kundalini's rising, goes out of the regular 5 throat chakra and then out the mouth. And then it goes out the mouth and around the head again. So it goes out the mouth here and then comes back in here to the eyes. So this is like verbal vomit in the beginning, where we go through that first phase where we vomit a lot of stuff. We're talking a lot about what we're experiencing. And then it comes back around to clear, our initial clearing, to come back into now that our eyes are open and we're able to see more. So the energy then comes up here into the 6th chakra and into the crown, the 7th, and then out the crown, coming around this way through the 8th chakra, which is the high heart awakening, and the 9 at the same time, which is that 6, 9, 8 pod, into the 10, which then governs all the lower chakra system except for the 11, which then comes down through the nostrils to replace the throat chakra, incorporating both the mouth and the nose, breathing in. And then there goes straight down through all of the physical body organ systems into the 1-2 connection with the 12th chakra here. As we go through the 11, according to Ascension Glossary, is the energy of the Dark Mother then clearing her part into light. And so this was coming up as the 11 replacing the 5 of the mouth, as actually the nose chakras coming in and joining the mouth to clear out and purify the whole physical body, and then grounding well into the 12. And then the 12, as it goes down into the 12, then all of a sudden is the 12D shield. All right, so this is like the egg around the whole body. So this is where we are now. We are like, it's like, this is like a sealed grounding that we have now. So the energy of the Kundalini, and the spine, and coming together up through the chakras 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, out the mouth, circling around and in the eyes, to then 6 to the third eye and 7 to the crown, going out the crown and then around the head again to enter back in through the high heart to the 9 of like that 4th eye in the back of the head, and then up to the 10 above the head as then the governing body, as 11 goes in through the nostrils and then goes back down straight through the body down to below your feet, which then is the 12th chakra, which then activates the 12D shield around you. And I kept getting that all this past week, that's like, it's set in, it's like sealed. So it's really interesting because you might be getting a lot of physical aches and pains going on because we're going through all of the physical body crap to clear it out now, which is really hard for us, right? Because we feel all the aches and pains of that. Any old injuries that have come up may be exacerbated, but it's all because we're clearing it all out. So all that stuff came up, and that was on the 21st. And I woke up at 10:04 that day, so message received, and that was after I'd received the message. So it's definitely significant coming through here. And then getting up at 10:19, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun, very significant energies together. So then they took me into the DNA as I did more scribing, and that's when Ava came up, which means grandmother, but it also means the whole opening, right? Like the AWL, which is something that creates a whole. But it's also human and people, the female ancestors. The old wives' tale comes up, so the tail, spelled both ways, comes up here. The wing, the bee, high to adorn, decorate, lay the table, prepare for the journey. So again, get ready to go, to put on, touch, out of bounds, to have, to own. So all those energies were coming up with this scribing, and I was literally writing down money and DNA, because I just listened to something the day before about writing down those words normally and then meditating on them to clear your family lineage regarding money issues. I think that was coming up from Spiritual Acceleration with Bonnie Saratorsa. Now I can't think of her last name, but you know who I'm talking about. Spiritual Acceleration. Bonnie. And also the expression no dough is coming up as the passage through the coral reefs for boats. Again, that thin passageway was coming up in multiple ways from multiple different definitions. The monkey and the woman coming up together along with the pyra, which is the fire, and the grandmother. So the DNA and the PVA also coming up here, which PVA can be an embolic agent, to clog up arteries and veins. But also the word PAIVA came up as the definition, which is a day, the sun, to boil, so that heat. And a place without Hanu, which is the breath, a place without breath or respiration, without being able to inhale or exhale, is to not be human, right? And Hans came up, without Hans, which references his and Khan, that very manly energy of power. And the Pyra, so Pyre, of course, has to do with the fire, but it also means potato here, to smolder fire, potato lover. And remember, the potato is very much of the earth. It's that fire earth energy that's been coming up in combination for me, along with the watery air. A heap of combustibles, the Pyra. And the DNA coming up as to boil in the sun at day, in a place without breathing, without his ownership. Woman or men out of bounds, to prepare, adorn the table, or dress for the journey, to touch the high bee or the carpenter with wings, the grandmother and her tail, and the whole opening, to open the feminine ancestors to have and own, where before the masculines had owned everything, the women didn't have a right to anything. So again, DNA was coming up with the grandmother here and clearing out old lineage of your family, burning through the old, and a passage through the coral reef for ships to come in. And DNA is also Dan and, which then came up, Dan and Dawn, dawning of a new day, which my brother and his wife are Dan and Dawn, so it always cracks me up. And the energy of the W, which is two U's, and waterways. The monkey being Mun and Ki, and MON also means man. And the key to man is woman, so the feminine was coming up as the monkey, but MON is the man, the husband, my monitor screen, to watch and wonder, the hand and language, and possession. One you, moon shall, to remember, to lament, belong to me, the world, man, I, tree that bears the fruits and nuts, and money. The key to man is woman here, the monkey is the key to man, and woman is the key to being human. Okay, that was very interesting the way that came up. The monkey, or right, our lineage of the Neanderthal, is the key to man, but the woman is the key to being human, or that next level, as we were seated by the Anu. And the 5, for some reason I was seeing the 11 in the 11 here, of 5, 6, which is the 2 of swords, and then the 83.
Something went wrong. Please try again.
That's just my phone, sorry about that. And then they're both 11s. 56 is an 11 and 83 is an 11. And they were both coming up as woman and human. So the WO is an 11 and the HU is 11. So it's the feminine part of the woman and the human. So very interesting there. So more scribing. Roxborough came up. The Rothschild energy was coming up there. The energy of blood, like dark purple, reddish brown. But then my aunt, so Dorothy's sister, is Nunu. And Nunu is Grace. And Yaya didn't like Nunu. And I don't know what their beef was with each other, but we always knew my great aunt as well. I always liked her. She was a very friendly person, but my grandmother wasn't a very social person. She was much more serious. She was Capricorn. I don't know what Nunu was. She might have been Taurus, actually, now that I think about it. But I don't know. I can't remember. But Roxborough, Roxo, Rovo was coming up. Rovith, made of birch, a container made of birch. And then New York was coming up as well. NY also means new and fresh, novel, different. We, us, and no. The new moon waxing is also NU coming up under NY. So I was doing this for the word Dorothy. So literally her sister was coming up and sibling rivalry. So this is so interesting. Also it came up under Dorothy was the energy of calling others out, false friend, clothes, blood, unattractive. She probably didn't feel as attractive as her sister. Woman, pus, dust, diesel oil. To accuse, belch, or burp, petroleum, and clothes all came up under that. As well as New York, fresh and novel and different. So very interesting because my grandmother Dorothy was a doctor, and this is unheard of in her day. Her sister was a physicist, which was also unheard of in that day. So what also came through here was someone who roams to wander, to bring together, twist slightly like you would weave string, to draw through the eye or the aperture, to practice robbery on the seas, or roam as a pirate, which is so interesting because I wouldn't think of my grandmother Dorothy in that way at all because she was very conservative. But apparently this is coming up about her. You know, you don't become a doctor in her day without a little bit of chutzpah, right? So I'd written down Esther as well, which is my father's mother. And this was so interesting, right? Because my mom's grandmother was a doctor, and so was her husband. My father's mother was my son, the doctor, right? So my dad was a doctor, but she was that mother, right? This is my son. He's worth everything. There's no woman who's good enough for her. And she didn't like my mom at all. But she also survived, you know, the death camps and raising her little brother at 10 years old in the sewing factories in Poland and making her way from Poland to France without selling herself. And going through Arabian Nights, basically, and sewing for some, you know, some head of state on her way to France, where then she sewed in Paris for models when my dad was growing up when he was very little. So my grandmother Esther came from nothing, whereas my grandmother Dorothy came in from everything. Her father was David Lubin, who was a very famous intellectual person, very connected to the world and feeding the world. And I've talked about that before. You can look up David Lubin if you want. There's a lot about him. But it was so interesting, the play between my two grandmothers, because I just remember taking my sister to synchronized swimming. She did synchronized swimming with both my grandmothers, which was rare because I rarely saw either of my grandmothers until my dad's mom came to live near us as she was older and after my grandfather died. But we never saw Yaya at our place. You know, we went to visit, you know, at Christmas and that kind of stuff, but we didn't see her much otherwise. This one time, they were both at our house at the same time, and they went to synchronized swim with us for Connie's practice. And they were so opposite. I just remember this being so apparent. You know, my dad's mom, she was an energized person. She was still stretching and working out at 84 years old. She had no sleeves on, and I just remember it being 11 o'clock at night, and she's up there in the stands, wide awake with no sleeves on. And then there's my other grandmother, Dorothy, with long sleeves and asleep at 11 o'clock. And she was the intellectual. My grandmother's the one who's a survivalist or survivor. So again, and the other one is from a wealthy family and very well educated, where their family was of doctors. And then my dad comes in from the other side, where his father was an engineer, but you know, they grew up in the war, so they never had a lot. He was very politically connected, so it's not like he came from a difficult place, but my grandmother came from a very difficult place. My grandfather then lost 7 sisters in the Holocaust because they didn't believe him when he told them to move. And so they came from a very different place in war than my other grandmother did, even though she healed people during the war. So you hear this energy of a family of doctors, and then my grandmother coming in with her son, the doctor, and that nobody's good enough for him. And then coming in with my mother, whose family was of doctors, but she was not a doctor, although she could have been. She had a very high IQ and very intelligent person. So there's this play of opposites here in coming together. As my grandmothers came in the births in my family, as I've brought up before, as the grandchildren are coming in, my grandmothers come in, or my grandfathers, or my father, and my mother all came in when they said they were going into a certain child. And so now Dorothy's coming back in again. So she's making her presence known, that she's preparing to go into another child. So the names Esther came up as well, and as you can imagine, Esther has a lot to do with Eve, and the door outside, the one, the elder. At the end of the journey is Esther as well. Neutral clay, something that's moldable, to smear and read at the beach or sea. At the end of the journey, the twin flame portal, the energetic exchange, or the door. And it's interesting too, because words that came up from my scribing came up for both of them. The outside door. So Dorothy, so Esther's those definitions I just told you about. And Esther was also bossy. You know, she was that Jewish grandmother who wanted to make sure you ate the liver that she served you, and the ham, you know, was sliced perfectly. And she exercised and was demanding, but she was very friendly and open, and she was always trying to get me to unbutton my shirt one more button, because she dressed models in Paris. You know, she was very hip in that way, but also very bossy mom, right? She was very controlling of my dad. But yet flexible like clay, the elder and door, and a ball buster. They're both ball busters in their own way, though. The two sides of the same coin coming together. So Dorothy with Nunu, her sister was the redhead. And there was some green with envy energy coming up between them. Roxy or Burrow, smallest worth like a penny. This is all coming up for Dorothy. To call out in the waxing new moon, new, different, novel, we and us, to roam and shoot arrows, accuse and burp, to draw through the eye or bring together and twist slightly, to prepare, or the pirate on the seas, the false friend, preparing to own as a female, which my grandmother was groundbreaking in that. She became a doctor, even though she wasn't allowed to practice in hospitals. She did during the war, and then she did a lot of volunteer work after that. So neither with great affection here. So neither grandmother were very affectionate people. I would say that Dorothy was more gentle and kind in that way. She was a nervous Nelly type, and then my other grandmother, you know, wasn't afraid of anything. She had been through hell and back, so, you know, nothing was going to bother her at that point. And then the green dragon was coming up from Magenta's comet talk, And for me, the dragon, the phoenix, and the eagle have been coming up nonstop as well. And they were talking about the dragon and the phoenix rising. And again, the dragon's tail being cut off came up in my messages this past week, which I've told you about. And remember, dragon is drag on, it has to do with breathing in. And the tail. So we're talking about breathing in and the tail being cut off. And the tail referencing the root chakra as well. And to shoot arrows at was coming up around Dorothy. So I both Dorothy, and then Dorothy came up from the Wizard of Oz. And my lineage through Esther. So they were connecting me, you know, these are my grandmothers, this is my lineage. And they were taking me to Dorothy as the Wizard of Oz, and then my grandmother as Eve's lineage through Esther. Dorothy coming up as the door of thy, but also Roth was coming up there, which again is that there may be a Rothschild's connection there. I don't know. I don't know any relatives named Rothschilds, but that was coming up. So Esther is EST and her, which is a door, and also it's east and south, grace and will, favor, affection, consent, to notice, face and mouth, to bestow help, offer help and enjoy, privilege, goodwill, and indulgence. I am east, thou art horse. Eve, evening, so evening being level. To fall, party, to the south, the orient. From or to the east, kindness and envy. Estonian and Mind, M-Y-N-D, means what goes around comes around, basically. To drive or approach, to become. Like an aesthetic, aesthesis, which means perception, or aware of the sensory system, or aware of sensory stimulation. And then Dorothy comes up as the longing and noisy, busy bee, through and across, and she wasn't like that at all. She wasn't like a gossip or anything like that. She was like a militant do-gooder. But longing or noisy, busy bee, which she did make a lot of noise, right? She would knock on people's door to get them to sign up and to help. The price for you and me. Esther with will and grace, mouth and face, offers help and enjoys goodwill and indulgence. She is Eve, the evening, east and south, and the sudden events. The horror that sees, the orientation to or from the east, with both kindness and envy, which also can come up as Nevada, but it also is Navajo, and new variant. And it also means Nu, which is her sister, Nunu, which obviously there was an issue between them. What goes around comes around, all in the drive, approach, or perception of sense and direction. Dorothy traveling with no sense of direction, but very responsible. Notice the response, which is a trigger word. So responsible, in being responsible, that means you are reacting, or easy to get a rise out of her. So the water phase was coming up with Magenta and Pam Gregory regarding the March equinox, which was coming up. And I pulled the card Aqua Aura, which is aqua of water, and aura, which is gold ray. Water and the gold ray. And then the salt water of the ocean, which they were talking about, takes electrical charge. That we start at the edge of the tide and creates a charge. And also Saturn's going into Pisces on the 7th, very significant for me. And that was also coming up as the middle, according to Sam, the illusionist, as the 13th sign. Wasn't actually a 13th sign, but the middle. I think that was Sam. I don't know if that could have been Magenta, but I think it was Sam in his channeling. This energy of 3-7 being exactly the middle between Aquarius and Pisces. So it may be a very significant point, 3-7. And that's when Saturn actually goes into Pisces for the next few years. And of course, Pisces has to do with the ocean again and the salt water. And the liquid energy of the portal, you know, like seeing a mirage, that kind of oily, liquidy feeling. So my first message here, it's already an hour, and this is my first read. So, hold on one second. Just make sure I'm at the right one. Yeah, okay. Okay, so this one starts with the journey of love. Then we have the Metatron deck, and then the mixed deck. I have 2 decks in one. That's the LENORMAND Reverie and the KIPPER deck. And then the Wild Unknown Animal Guidebook. And then the bottom one is just my half deck of Rider Waite. So it's just the characters. And then for those of you who don't normally watch, the cards on the left is the underlying energy. The cards on the right are cards that I count, or sometimes they'll come out in pyramid form, so I'll use them in the read. But it's really pulling out 3 cards for each deck most of the time, no matter what order they come in. Sometimes a 4th card will come out, so I use that in the 3-card pull. So when I did this read at 5:05 to 5:09 on the 21st, the energy of the 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, which is the Hierophant, the Lovers, the Chariot, the Strength card, and then the Hermit. The cards, the piles at the end of each deck were 2, 3, 6, 2, 3, and then 2, 3, 6, 4, 1, 2. They came up 2 different ways. And so 23, 6, 23 was coming up as the King of Wands, the 6 of Lovers, also love, family, community, and then the King of Wands. So basically loving himself. This can be also 2 fire sign males loving themselves, but also the King of Wands, blissful wisdom, ending pain to hang out. And again, this year is the year of 23, the King of Wands. And the 20, which is the wake-up call for him to learn how to balance his fiery energy, because that's what always throws him out of balance. So at 5:13, I started processing this read. At the 39 of the Knight of Cups, which is what started us today as well, to let the feminine lead the way with the 39, the 10 of the New Dawn, the 3 of Marriage, the Deer, and then the 2 of Wands, which is the Twin Flames, or that choice of path of the 28, where the Knight of Cups is wrangling in the Kundalini with their left arm and stretching with their right, holding their tail with their left and their hair with their right. Destined new dawn as the sun rises in the valley of Welcome Back Cotter, a wavy path east as the sun rises in her grace, in the marriage of abundance with Dear One and Twin, or 2. So it's saying Dear One and Twin 2. So Dear One is the 1, number 1, the masculine, and Twin as the 2. At 5:19, which is the Hierophant and the Sun, the underlying energy is 17 of her grace, the 16 of the heart of the moment, and the 39 of let the feminine lead the way. As the star suddenly explodes from the center in a wrangling of love after self-initiation, and the 12 chakra and the Buddhic egg, or the cosmic egg of the 12th chakra, and then the 12D shield coming up and around in the shape of an egg, falling of the angels, and the 14 light as a feather, the 67 of the swan, the humble loyal servant of the 9 of God, the heart of God, the hermit and the sun, the 19 of Shakti, and the God, or Leo and Virgo energy into the Holy Grail of the Ace of Cups. So again, there's this energy around the Shakti energy that was bringing Leo into Virgo, which again is that midpoint where Aquarius and Pisces come together. It's the same thing, but the opposite hemisphere, basically. So the Holy Grail of the Ace of Cups, which is the Holy Grail, the knowing without knowing, the Mary Magdalene buttercup yellow with the weight of the world on her shoulders, the Hercules energy of her harvest, the higher self, divine feminine, within nothing there is everything, in the womb with Mother Nature, the 11 of eruption of light, and the 17 of the star, and Esther, which is a star is born, in the heart, heat of the moment. The Tower event, the Knight of Cups reins them in. The guardian of the soul family preparing the community in the communal dance around the egg with heaven on earth, projected from the clouds in 2x2s and rings of Saturn, with 2 cards here, the choice and the dance of the planets. So, to be trapped or free, avoiding or free and clear, hand in hand. In the do-si-do, and notice do is like Dear One, of the Green Mile, the tunnel, the holding cell for those wanting to cross over and play with nets. So at 5:33, which is the Hierophant and the Christ vibration, or that energy of the 7 of Wands standing up for oneself, is the 28 of the double diamond grid, untying the karmic knots, in the supernova or novel moment of letting go, in the 4, the time for release, in the 4, which is the L and the 1 of the lambda leap, the lamb and the father, and the leap with an open heart, the feather and the leaf, and the cleanup of the old feathers and leaves for a new dawn, the 10 of high vibe new spring, 4:10 here, and I woke up at 10:04, message received. So there's the reflection again, and again alchemizing to the middle. The 38 of the Queen of Cups chakra in the light body activated for the Page of Wands from the Knight of Cups, giving pointers, sunshine to the Knight of Cups and Queen of Cups energy, to the Page of Wands as the community dances around them. The first card here of the yellow bee and the flower of joy and happiness. The 25 of the Knight of Wands, passion and love for life. And the carpenter pollinating Buttercup's egg as the Knight of Wands lights a fire under the projection and the dance of heaven on earth, as you see in the Green Mile, as Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers sing, "I'm in heaven," under the projection. At 5:41, the Hierophant and the Ace of Cups, with the 36, 2, and 24, and the Atlas inner child, working hard to know themselves, with the 2 of the higher self, divine feminine, reflecting in the purple moon, where there's a timeout needed to stretch and lunge, the 24 of the Queen of Wands, connect and attune. Pisces, Cancer, fire here, with 12 in the wise community that gathers to reap and plan, in busy energetic exchange or job, or occupied by the back and forth, the arrows of love, the washing, the sewing, and the OC cup at the connection, or occupation, the OCQ and the PA or father, Pa, TION, which is the tiger lioness, or Pat connection, and the 14 of temperance and the message of the crown, or message of concern, in sewing the pieces together, which, geez, I don't know what this must have been like 2016, maybe 2017. I had a read at a convention, and my grandmother came through with my father with violins all around my head, and he played violin. And then my grandmother, I just always remembered her saying to sew the quilt together. So here we are with the temperance and the message of concern, sewing the pieces together, the fractals of the quilt, but I'm also getting guilt here, which is a grandmother's thing, right? And it's 5:43, which is the coming together. The fractals of the quilt and the guilt, and hitting the jackpot here, aligning with sudden wealth of truth and balance, and then laying things to rest, or sudden death, and a man with sudden thoughts of her, of Esther Williams in Synchronized Swim, as I told you about Esther and Dorothy. And Sagittarius, Libra, Leo, Scorpio, Taurus here, or Len, that energy of Len and Taurus. And that the Len is coming up as Leo energy. And suddenly ending it all. And I don't mean that in a killing oneself way. It's like ending something they've been holding on to, or letting go suddenly when they fought for it for a long time. Or a man is now thinking of marriage where he wasn't before. So the first card here is the Page of Swords in transition, of the child or message after death, or ending, or dark night of the soul, and the Page of Wands of great fortune with transition of wealthy man, or child's inheritance. With Taurus fire and lots of Scorpio here, it's cleanup time, letting go of attachments to money, sex, death, or taxes. And 6 cards here at 5:55, with the 4 of the House of the King of Cups, which is unconditional love, but I'm also getting the House of Cards, and the 15 of the Devil, and the Polar Bear, or the Dark Mother, the 10 of Wands of the Burden of Atlas of the Weight of the World, and the 30 of the 4 of Wands, the Home of the King of Swords, and Lilies of Home and Union. The main female here of Home and Garden, of Mother and Daughter, and the 17 of the Queen of Cups, nesting the dream, of high honors of the Knight of Wands, or honorable man. At 57, which is the 3 of Swords, and the elephant to cobra and wolf, the gazelle, swans, whale, cosmic egg, the lizard and deer, where the elephant leaves the egg As soon as the butterfly can fly, so as soon as a child grows up and leaves the nest, they're ready to go. The boldly clearing step by step, broken and worn with flame and trunk, to cobra on alert, the wolf and gazelle too, as all eyes see from their point of view, or like the pack or tribe, leaders going to a conference, to bring back new downloads, to swans to reflect on, with whales struggling to clear the dark waters, as the crown chakra expands to 12 with Buddhic egg to grow more fully as the collective, awakens with sensitivities to light and crowds, but likes dear one and doe eyes. The elephant takes the red eye, inverting the cobra's red alert, with parents who thought they were free before the new egg came in. The golden energy of Ellie and cow, or taking a deep breath, because the ants are coming, so keep a lookout southwest. All hail Cosm, bringing sea and land together, cause I see are the inner child, the lizard deer, and then Liz, Liza, Elizabeth come up here, and 3 blind mice. At the golden gate, wanting to go on the path of the dear one, or mother births early, and are there 2 here, golden and cosmic eggs. At 646, the lovers and the 6 of cups. So the blue camel is longing for the dear one, as the lion peacefully stands guard, well fed, feeling very fortunate for a good meal, and the octopus mind overstimulated, needing boundaries and to untangle extensions, or mainframe and departments, as the frog feels the dark rain coming again. The rain again. So that's coming up. The Eurythmics came up the other day. It's coming up again. And then the beaver in the clear, working hard in the mountains to build a dam or bridge, to clear the sacred waters, or dammed with very little leakage, or slow water, with wise owl, who's a hoot in the dark, playing elephant with their eyes and nose as the owls. So the owls like doing shadow play. They're bored, I guess, so they're playing games on the wall, making themselves out like an elephant. It's really funny. So the wise owl, a hoot in the dark, playing elephant with eyes and nose, or shadow puppets to make the kids feel better. The frog may be longing for the mountains, or for the one who gives a damn, or longing for steady work and being creative and wise, or with wise counsel or bird. The camel looks to the deer, and the frog looks to the beaver, and Lion's Gate watches for October, or the 8 of their life's work to come to fruition. So the underlying energy is the Page of Pentacles and the Page of Cups, and the lovers are besties, or hitting the road to justice, or invited to a child's party near to where the lover lives, or Gemini or twins, and the career or Libra here, with fond memories of dark night and standing up to the leader, and the Page of Swords taking a swing at them, or messaging dark night to come along with the Knight of Cups, to see the Knight of Pentacles sovereign, or the wounded warrior, or Cancer and Scorpio to Libra here. At 702, which is the Chariot and the High Priestess with space between, which also can be Cancer and Pisces, proposing to sovereign, but the Queen of Pentacles may be defensive to that proposal. So Queen of Pentacles comes up with the sovereign, so that could be a mother and daughter. So this could be a daughter getting proposed to, and the mother may have a problem with that. Or they may be defensive, or the Queen of Wands is, as the Nine of Pentacles is the Queen of Pentacles, and the Nine of Wands is the Queen of Wands, and the Nine of Cups here is then free Knight of Pentacles, making an offer to the Queen of Cups, or Aries makes an offer to get work from the Queen of Cups Magician, or Gemini or Virgo, with the Knight of Wands also coming in with an offer, or 2 knights for the price of 1. So it could be 2 knights coming in for the same person, or again, literally, maybe you're getting 2 nights for the price of 1 because you're making plans for a vacation. And then the blue is the first card out here at 706 without the dear one, and unable to sleep without twin 2. The Queen of Swords speaks to the world, Divine Feminine's Pisces or neighbor, or comes full circle with the King of Wands and King of Swords, and the Empress connecting or partnering with the Knight of Swords, Hermit or Virgo. Or Pisces goes with Taurus with two men, or on a double date, or the Queen of Swords is waiting for a response from multiple people, or Pisces, Taurus, and Virgo partner up. Tempted Page of Wands asks the High Priestess on a date, or inspired by secrets or psychic abilities, as the King of Cups and King of Pentacles are with the Emperor, or the Emperor's team and the High Priestess are meeting with the Hermit for advice or an audit, or a grand keeping light on for them. So grandparent may be home at 712, which is the Chariot and the Hanging Man. The underlying energy of the Knight destined to marry the dear one twin, unless the Knight of Wands rushes back before it's too late for them. And again, that's when there may be two proposals at the same time. Or the Page of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the Page of Swords, or the Queen of Cups mother with child not sleeping well, the Hierophant and the Magician with Leo and Scorpio kids here, or fixed signs, Leo, Scorpio, and Taurus, but where's Aquarius, with Gemini or Virgo, and gathering around the egg, as the Knight of Wands is juggling heaven and earth, creating a buzz or departments around the world, or wealthy man who's juggling many, perhaps has one in every port. And that can be a sexual thing, or it can be just business. Two imprisoned by stretching and growing with inner child work. Home with pushy mother, or Capricorn tending to flowers, to nest the dream with honor. The King of Wands and King of Swords both coming in to help the Empress, wise bird, or to take a look, or the Empress and the Emperor and both of their teams come together to swear in, perhaps in court, at 723, the Chariot and the King of Wands. And that could be a Cancer fire sign as well. So, and there was a lot coming up in multiples of these reads regarding groups of where, the guys go out and do their thing and the girls go out and do their thing, which also can be the night before the wedding, right, where we have the girls and the guys separate and go do their own thing. So in like a lion, out like a lamb was coming up here, as well as the green dragon fall and the pink phoenix's rise, of the green heart and the pink heart and the aqua rose gold heart. And this connection between the solar ray or the solar plexus and the green heart, as the aqua has risen, right? The rose gold heart references the rising of the high heart, of that aqua rose gold heart. And then going into the next read on February 22nd. So this one starts with the Lenormand combination, Lenormand, Reverie, and Kipper decks at top. And then we have the Journey of Love, and then the Energy deck, and then the Wild Unknown Animal Tarot, and then the half deck of Rider-Waite. Same setup. So underlying energies to the left, and the cards to count to the right and read. And so these were pulled at 11:15 to 25 on the 22nd. So we have the Devil, the Tower, and the helicopter came over at 11:16, a sudden event there. 23, 24, 25 is the King, Queen, and Knight of Wands. The cards at the end here were 11724 and 117215, which is Philadelphia area code. So I looked up 117, which was Rachel, Ohio, England, long, Pamela, charmed, and then 215 was Lord God, Neron, Moore, attack, Romeo, and Andromeda, Coingate, and Buck. And then from 11724, I did get liberation also from that which is tolerable and rewarding and comfortable while it sustains and absolves the destructive power and repressive function of the affluent society. Justice alignment with the Chariot and the Queen of Wands, the Toxic Snake card, or the Four of Pentacles and the Emperor, or perhaps the Emperor is cheap, or Libra ascending to the Emperor, or the Lambda leap and stability. So that, and again, those were some of the definitions from Gematria, but then again, the translation of the numbers. So Lens Day which can reference a Leo, a Leonard, or lens, like in your eye lens. Lens day was coming up here, and the energy of the unknown half rider, half weight. The L of the right angle, and JC in the lambda leap. And Kip, the energy of the thread, the twine, the string, the rope, the yarn, and the bag. And Kip is also like in gymnastics, doing a kip up to the bar. So the underlying energy started at 1146, which is the energy of the Six of Cups, which for me is very Piscean. And the 11 is justice, truth and balance, alignment. Of the 12 of the privileged lady, and the 54 of the earth angel, and the 11 of cornucopia, that's the word with copia in it, C-O-P-I, cornucopia. And starfish, and then the Knight of Cups again, 39. By the way, the read I did today, which I'll get to next, was all 39s and 35s. It's incredible, because for how many decks I'm using, and all of the 39s and 35s came up. It was so weird. That's the Knight of Cups and the Wounded Warrior. So the wise privileged lady, or Pisces, hanging out for perspective, and the Page of Swords earth angel making her bed, or blanketing with messages of thanksgiving each day, the horn and eucopia, which is coming up as the horn, the announcement of you, and copy members copy, and the A is the human embodiment of source with connections, announcing that you copy human with connections. Starfish tends to get what they want without trying too hard, but the Knight of Cups is beautiful and loving alignment with toxic King of Wands, or Pisces and Cancer hermiting, or at Hermit's or Virgo's house. And then the time then was 1154, bringing up the Page of Swords again, which can reference a message. And usually the 54 I would think of as more Gemini, but it's coming up more as the Virgo energy here today. The underlying energy of the King of Cups with timelines, the 24 of the Queen of Wands, thief, or she's with a little thief, and that could be as simple as a pet, is trying to steal your food from you. And the 18 of the child, or pet, Cancer, or 18-year-old, or little girl, or her dolly, and or proud parents, or proud Mary of their child, or pet coming together, each in their own way. The 37 of Scorpio, or boy who feels impoverished, without privileged lady, or Pisces or Capricorn, or Cancer-Pisces duo here. With the first card out being the 7 of the Queen of Wands and the toxic snake. And literally, when I was pulling this card out, I was literally seeing Teddy nipping at Jenna as the snake's mouth. So I wasn't getting it as toxic as it normally would be because he was just playing with her. But there's also this energy here of the Queen of Wands traveling and leaving Cancer or pet with Hermit, or toxic change of residence or car, or vacation or time to clean the car and or house out, with the 25 of high honoring, of the 19, or the Sun's institution, or the Knight of Wands honors Leo, finding peace or retiring perhaps, or Sagittarius honoring Leo, sunshine or vacation, and or the powers that be. There's a lot of fire coming up here regarding that, the powers that be, with Cancer, Pisces, Virgo, Sag, and Leo coming up there. At 12:12, the underlying energy of Atlas and 36, the cosmic butterfly and the weight of the world, and again the 24 of the Queen of Wands and the spaces between the words, the 18 again of distant shores, and 54 of Earth Angel, or little girl, Cancer, Leo, 24th or 18th, and message to get ready, with Atlas, Queen of Wands, and flirting or finding peace, but I'm getting flirting to find peace, and 60 comes up there as well. And then the 10 of Pentacles of 78, as the cards added up to 78 there, is coming up as 18, 24, 36, 60, and then 78. And distant shores or 4 moons, which 4 moons from this read was coming up as June 3rd, which is my father's birthday. Exactly. So 4 full moons is June 3rd, but also March 7th was coming up significant here again, the worm moon. Also 7, 3, and 8, 1 are some of the full moons coming up here, the buck moon and sturgeon moon, and 6, 3 is the strawberry moon, and then of course August 30th is the blue moon. And they're all coming up here. So full moons being very significant there. So I turn the page, it's 1221. As Cancer is under the bridge. So there's this energy of water under the bridge, but rough water under the bridge. In the spaces between, in rough seas and seas and seas, as the earth angel blankets and prepares. The portal, 1221. The Queen of Wands at night is up late or sleeping in. And then we have the 60 of the first card, riding the cosmic wave, 2 swans, and the 14 of the patient angel, or Sagittarius falling, light as a feather. The 11 of eruption of light, and again that's coming up today, is the coming in back in through the nostrils, or Gemini Sagittarius, light as a feather, and the honoring of Hieros Gamos, or Saggi Libra, and 3 or 25, and a 3 or 25 gun salute, the 3D honor, or the 5D Hieros Gamos, or life's work, or opus. The eruption coming up here of ER and up and TION, which is the urgent upping of the tiger-lioness connection, and the 17 of her grace, ing us, with her presence. The star, healing, and dream come true, which is so weird, because when I was telling you Dorothy and Esther, Esther was coming up as Will and Grace, and yet Dorothy's the one with Grace as a sister. My mother's middle name was Grace. So it's very interesting the way they come together. Star, healing, and dream come true as Leo with 3D peace, but Aquarius with her grace. So there's like different levels like of 2 people coming together with one in their 3D piece, but the other partner being in their 5D grace. And that can even be a child. And then at 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1234, shut the door, was the 52 of the goddess of the moon and the 21 of strategy, with the 45 of the man holding his heart before the cornucopia of the 11 of justice and alignment. The Queen of Swords with a strategy complete, perhaps with a feather, or mother and child, Queen of Swords and Pisces, as the Queen of Swords holds the moon, or is Cancer, as the Page of Swords or Pisces travels, and the man with his heart, or Cancer little boy, may be sad despite their abundance, aligning with good meals each day. Pisces and Libra here. So at 1239, the Hanging Man and the Knight of Cups. And then the 53 of the Knight of Swords, the Magician in the Mirror, the Knight of Swords, wondering what they did. The little one home in the garden and the gate, and why can't they come with? The 18 of Anxiety, or Libra or Virgo, with Pisces and or Cancer. And there's this energy here too for me. When I was getting this message, I automatically was thinking of Teddy. You know, when we leave, we can't take him with us. And him saying like, what did I do? He always comes up as the King of Wands, so it's pretty funny. Like standing back as like the old man. He thinks he's like the old man of the house, and it's 717, by the way, on the clock. But coming up here as, you know, why can't I go with? Like, what did I do wrong? I didn't do anything wrong. You just can't come with us. So at 1242 was the Hanging Man and the 2 of Cups, with 7 cards here, 17, 9, 6, 27, 49, 50, and 29. The star, healing, the healer, or dreams come true, as black and white stallions, and notice stallions as the stall lions, take action to come together, with separation from hermit or hermiting, or healing a broken heart, as dreams of forgiveness in lovers or family contract, Aquarius, Virgo, Gemini, or twins coming together as the 27, the one inspired to walk away or escape, and the 9 of Cups angel of love gets their wish, as the 10 of Cups family or mother or matriarch is with pet or Leo and will hold down the fort. The angel of strength and being present in the moment, to the big picture, as the younger one travels the planet, as the angel of love, the angel of strength is able to watch from above, or the earth mother, the salt of the earth, and Saturn to Pisces on March 7th, 2023. So again, very significant dates, 3/7 and 7/18, when the North Node goes into the next sign of Aries. So this was at 1254, but actually 52, 53, 54, which is The Queen of Swords, Knight of Swords, and Page of Swords all coming up. So lots of messages there for March 7th. And then 1255, which is then the Ace of Swords, the truth of the Hanging Man, or seeing new perspectives, and the underlying energy of the Lizard, who's sensitive to the eagle's dive as the whale struggles with dark energies underwater with the octopus, or this can be October opus, or this can reference the 8 of August opus. As the eagle dives in, the dust and dark stuff disperses in the air. So it's like the eagle dives in and causes a lot of bad stuff in the air for everyone to breathe. As the whales then come up for air, and the octopus's brain fries or seizes, as the lion remains calm, as the frog longs. Here comes the rain again. So that comes up again. As the starfish shines, or PA to Florida to clear the waters, as the phoenix waits, or maybe as Phoenix waits. And Phoenix has been coming up a ton, so I don't know if it's the location in addition to the Phoenix rising. And then Liza came up again here, along with EA, which is Elizabeth April, as April came up as OPE as well, and Opie, right? A very good little boy. As Glee comes up here, and Halley's Comet, the glue and the hail, or the whale lock, or Hocht 8 opus at the Lion's Gate, clearing dark waters through then, and then leap to star, or Leo or Pet, longing for Pisces, or longing to be a star, or for Esther or Leo with fro on path. That could be a Leo with an afro, or just to and fro, and in the fro part of the to and fro, on path of Christ consciousness, or Pisces star at 110, the Magician and Destiny. So the first card here is the crocodile who hovers, or reptile or pet who's mad or can't smell, or got something up their nose, wondering what they did. With the earthworm, newbie, or young one with nervous stomach. With blue camel who came, unearthed, and conquered. So then Walter Cronkite came up, and the path of the CRO. So CRO for me is case report. It's contract research organization. I was trying to think of the C. But in research, there are organizations who then take the work over from like the big pharma and become the middleman for the hospitals where they do research. So the different things that came up with CRO here is Chris Adamkowski, Chief Revenue Officer and Deal Maker was coming up from Google. Biopharm CMO and CRO market demand to be driven by technological advancements, and they're predicting from 23 to 29 it's going to expand hugely. And then Oliver Surge Biologies came up in one of the listed companies there, which is so funny because my nephew's son is Oliver, and I'm going to his birthday party this weekend. And then there was Get an Oliver poll. So Oliver kept coming up. There are two different words. So the Cronkite Award came up, and Gayle King just won. That came up in the news, and that's why they conquered came up. And also, so ASU is something familiar too. That's the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism is part of ASU in the city, and that's who supplied the award to Gayle King. And the other thing came up was the new earthquake that happened in Turkey, where the other big earthquake was. They had another quake come up, so more issues with that. At 126 is the Magician or the Masculine, and the 26 is the Page of Wands. And the hummingbird who clears the air and waves back as the crow stands guard, dispersing dark energies from the planet. The underlying energy, I was just getting, damn it, Janet, at 28, the twin flames or choice of path, the underlying energy, that it's a new day, it's a new dawn, it's a new life for me, as the song was playing. And then the song Shine came up after that. With the Page of Pentacles, studies or invites an opportunity unable to sleep or stressed out before travel or move, the High Priestess or Cancer and Pisces or Virgo watching them go, or parents watching child leave, or the Page of Pentacles traveling to the King of Pentacles, or many watching the Page of Pentacles, King of Pentacles, and Knight of Pentacles family, or Cancer, Pisces, and Virgo, Emperor or Aries, or High Priestess and the King of Pentacles getting the Emperor to make an offer or payout to Justice, Judge, or Libra, or the King of Pentacles' gift, or Cancer, Pisces, Virgo family with an opportunity for the Emperor to help Justice or get divorced, or Earth, Emperor helps Justice with the King of Cups and the Knight of Swords rushing in about a partnership with the Queen of Swords, Virgo or Gemini, or dividing and conquering between justice and magic, bringing in the Knight of Wands sovereign or deliverance of the Queen of Cups, or as the Knight of Wands and the Nine of Pentacles sovereign go back to visit the Queen of Swords, the Queen of Cups goes forward to offer love, or sets of partners are dividing and conquering to get more done. So these are more than one set are back to back and going different ways to get things done at 144 right here. And this is again explaining to why you and your twin aren't together yet, because you can get more done apart until you come together. So at 145 is then the King of Wands, who looks back to the Knight of Cups Pisces for word, as the King of Wands is to be with the Empress, home safe and light as a feather. The Page of Wands and the Empress, soulmates, will miss the Knight of Cups going away. And again, along with Gale winning, Gale wins came up the other day, which may was referencing Gale winning. So, and also Saturn and Pisces will last from 3/7 to May 24th and 25. So it'll be there for quite a while, as Saturn always is, like 2.5 years or so. So the energy of 4 cards here at 148, the 48, the walking away and within of the 8 of Cups, and the choice of path given to the Empress by the world, the Divine Feminine Pisces neighbor, the King of Swords and the Page of Cups, the Queen of Wands love or lover, traveling as the Devil waves and then goes cold as the Page of Cups and Hermit shed light on this, or Taurus, Pisces leaving Capricorn and Virgo and or Gemini, or 2 women here, Pisces, Capricorn, or Virgo, and the Knight of Wands or Saggy, Libra, Cancer, and Taurus honoring or send off and will miss them. Normally the Knight of Cups and the King of Wands, as the Knight of Cups becomes the Queen of Wands and the King of Wands, as to the King of Swords, who's mad that they're leaving them, and Capricorn, Virgo waving and holding light will pick them up when they come back. So the Dark Knight walking right over the Page of Swords and the Page of Wands, perhaps one is happy and one is not, as Scorpion gets message from Saggy or guarded Queen of Pentacles, who's now free, or Aries guarding the Queen of Pentacles and sending a message to Dark Knight or Scorpio, or already did. All right, now here's the last one, and this is a big one. Okay, so the same setup. Oh, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Same setup. Top cards are the energy deck, and then we have the combined deck of Lenormand, Reverie, and the Kipper. The next one is Metatron, and then Nature's Whispers, and then the Wild Unknown Animal Guidebook, and then the bottom one is the half deck of Rider-Waite. Okay, really big messages in this read here. So this was cut and dealt. Well, by the way, 444 came up right after that, which is the angelic realms. And again, the energy of the partners in 2 directions, or having a partner to help navigate with directions. So getting help. All right. So this was done today. And like I said, I couldn't believe it as soon as I dealt the cards. I'm going to show you a little bit of that in the picture because they are all, this is literally, this card is 39, this is 35, this is 39, this is 35, and then we have the elephant, like the wounded warrior, and then the Queen of Cups, or excuse me, Queen of Pentacles down here. Then we have the root chakra, Archangel Michael here, which is 35, and then 39 is down here, along with these energies here, which the dragon and the dolphin are very much that same energies of the Knight of Cups and the wounded warrior, and the mother here as well, and it goes on. But there's more 39s and 35s in there, but I just wanted to show you, like, they're everywhere. So I dealt them from 10 o'clock on the nose to 10-4. So there's that 10-4 message received again. And of course, 1, 2, 3, 4, shut the door of the masculine, the feminine, the magician and the high priestess, the empress and the emperor, all coming up right here with the 10, which is destiny, or that high vibration, that 1-0 trill. The numbers at the end of each deck were 1, 2, 4, 1, 4, 3, and 1, 2, 4, 1, 5, 11 also came up. And the messages for, as far as the numbers, was the Hanging Man and the Holy Grail, which is JC and Mary Magdalene, coming together, the Hierophant and Justice, Taurus and Libra, and then the number 124 was Gabriel and Faith, and or the King of Swords Magician embodiment was coming up there too with the numbers. 143 was Rock, Them, Frog, Hero, Kaboom, Hands, and Fireball. That was all from Gematria. And then 1511 was the Patriot's Arrow, and 511 was Saturn, Mary, I'm Speaking the Name God. And 114311 was coming up for me. So like the two gates around the 43 of the Emperor and the Empress coming together. And I started the read at 1019, which is the Wheel of Fortune and the Sun. Again, two very positive cards and major arcana. And the underlying energy of the Knight of Cups, the 30, which is 39, 35 of the Pathway, 39 of the green, the emerald green, 35 of Culmination of Vision, the Elephant and the Queen of Pentacles, who's 66. So we have the Knight of Cups and the Wounded Warrior, the Dolphin and the Dragon, like I pointed out to you on the cards, Mary Mother and Mary Magdalene, daughter, and the Aqua and Indigo, as well as the Orange and Pink together, the Green and the Blue, and the Orange and the Pink, the Cancer of July and Leo, and Scorpio, November, and Saggy, with March being Pisces and Aries, so again, all the water going into the fire signs. And then March and Julius 9 were coming up from that, as 315 is the Ides of March, when Caesar was assassinated, and the year was 44, which is her harvest, the 4 of Cups. The Ides of March, remember Julius Caesar is JC, so whenever you say JC, you're referencing Julius Caesar as well. And again, the antitheses, right, the two sides of the coin. The Taurus, notice that when you write JC, it literally looks like the toroidal field with direction. November then comes up as the fruit-bearing jujube tree, the two Jews who be, the family of two Jews be, one cold Scorpio November, in Taurus or Taurus direction, as Taurus is in North Node, Scorpio is in the South Node. From 1/18/22 to 7/17/23 is the North Node and South Node, which change in Aries on July 18th. And the North Node is noted as the dragon's head. And so is the South Node the tail, I assume. I don't know for sure. But I was looking back to where the North Node was when I hurt my back, which was back in 2013. And it was in Scorpio North Node. And now we're in Taurus North Node. So it's basically flipped the energy from when I hurt myself. So it's like done that cycle. So letting go of tail, injury, and the story, the North Node in Leo, which is my North Node, but also Lilith just went into Leo. And again, that energy is about shining. And as a Virgo, Virgos don't always like to be the front man, right? So it's urging me to be more Leo, right? And my Venus is in Leo as well. But then Julius and Jesus come up, as of course July and Julius. Julius is July US, and the US's birthday is July 4th, of course. So Julius and Jesus both come up here as July US and I Zeus. Jess, us, us, yes. That JES is I remain, exist, I see and decay, wear out, and yes, okay, just. To eat. July us and G's us, where July is the catkin and JES is attaboy. The July is the little cat, the kitten's tail, the prime fur, the inflorescence. The inflorescence consisting of an axis with many unisexual apetalous flowers along the sides. So that's the catkin plant, with the little fuzzy guys that aren't really flowers, they're just little nubs. But also it means distance or to be apart. July or Julie. So, and notice that in July versus Jess, Jes, that ULI equals 15 and ES equals 6. So they're both 6s. They're both in that same energy. So July and Jess, it's, again, two sides of the same coin. Jess, or JES, is I came, I saw, I existed, I decayed and wore out. I sus, or Zeus, I whistling, singing, whispering, whizzing, rushing, savior, breast, squirrel and pig. I atop and also under, otherwise sister and son. Leap and come on, attaboy, murmur through the crowd, to be quiet, suspicious, effeminate, suspended, shoe, ornament, garnish. To dry, shot, attempt, gunshot. And IUS also is law and gravy. And the juice. Right. And INS, and that goes back to Jesus. So IUS of Julius goes right back to Jesus again. So it's the same energy, two sides of the same coin. Julius, LIUS, is light, bright, and clear, famous, candle, torch, coconut, to read and recite. Where it's also the jewel of Jesus, of rightness and law. Jew light, where Julius equals jewel and the light of Jesus, one and any, and Jesus' shadow aspect. Jess and July, the catkin and the catkin being the little girl, and then the attaboy being the little boy. The Jess and the Julie. So again, reiterating, everything always comes up as two sides of the same coin. And at 11:12, which is weird too, because one of the cards that came up today was the patience card, which looks like the Statue of Liberty being impatient, but the clock on her is at 10, 11, 12, and here it's 11:12. So that 10, 11, 12 of the 6D was coming up, but also the energy of 11 after 10 o'clock. But justice comes up here as well as just ice. The Jew point, the stitch, the path of suspended animation, where animation is anime and TION, which is the tiger lioness connection or totem. And Ani, ANI, is eyes and anus, now harvest, sky, water, to stuff and bear fruit, to pour in, nut and fruit. Both and neither, not even and even, the bird and elder brother, or members of the jujube tree, to blow softly and wave. One and not even one, ring and eye, the act of harvesting, or the opus. But also disgust comes up here. So disgusted also sounds like having talked about, disgust. And just, sudden, absolute, extremely, and enough. Guard, totally, and arrow. And the ant eater. And the ant's coming up a lot today too. And when Michael Salla talks to JP, they always talk about the ant people are guides on the arcs. So the ant people are very significant here. The arrow, and then going back to animation, is Ani, Ma, or the mother, and the Tyon of the tiger lioness connection. The Ma's jujube family tree, or the tiger lioness, or the source being on. disgust having to do with already talked about bad gust, the arrow that does nothing but point direction without force behind it, right? What good is it without the arrow? The goat or the goal versus the trajectory. And what is a goal without a will to do it? The goat without a hill to climb. The ani of the animal without the L and the ma. Or the mations, which is the mater, which is the mother, to check out, the checkmate, the mate, and mast and matter, to surprise. The mother to kill, affair and substance. To ingest and take in and poop out, to sweat out, that whole process. The ani is the wave and the ring, both and neither, even and not even, one whole opus harvest of mother, or Hercules, which is her harvest, the year of the mother. Support, mate, and checkmate. The jujube tree of the two Jews, B, which is the carpenter tree, with fruits and nuts that, right, all of their children from the tree. And the ani, the year of the mother, and the animal, without illness or mountain or shore, a well-fed woman or idiot, a dog, a cow, water, bad, evil, and harm, male, mold, caste, lacking common sense. So the mother's plump, but also bears fruit from her jujube tree, her tyon, her tiger lioness totem, where totem is the tote and the M, the backpack of the shadow and co-creation. To co-create of heart and believe, the tyon, which is the source is on, of Jess and July, of attaboy and catkin, the jewel of the I, which is us, US. Both J and US are present in both words, Julius and Jesus. So you get the juice of it. The juice, below, energy, power, speech, poop, and just, deuce. The ius, which also equals Jesus, law and jurisprudence. Or au jus, which is, of course, gold juice, gold energy. To Jesus, law, and collective juries, prudence or jurisprudence, the balance. The Ides of March, where the Ides is the middle, the Virgin Lady, which references Virgo to me, because Virgo's in the middle of the cycle and she's the Virgin. But here we have the March, which is the opposite of September, it's Pisces. The Ides of March, the middle, the Virgin Lady, and the Ide of the fish and the idea, the notion or pattern, that I see, water, whirlpool, or cortex. Backwater, bear or badger's den for hibernation. So, E's den, or in other words, Eden, with multiple fish with ideas, visions of the vortex in hibernation, or meditative zero point of all God's children. E's den, Mother Bear, her secret garden, the vapor, the mist, the gorillas in her mist, until the Anu got his hands on them. All right, so Ani's gorilla in her mist until the Anu got his hands on them. So at 1158 of Justice in the Four of Swords, the Knight of Cups 39, and the 5th chakra, Gabriel, or real Gab. The 35 of the Wounded Warrior's pathway to the Emerald City, or the Green Heart Healing, becoming the wounded warrior on the path to return to self at the city from the country. Both words have C, T, and Y in them, of the city. The C of the Christ consciousness and the whispering bench, the T of the top dog, and the Y, of course, is the Y in the road, the 0 point field. To see the T and the coon tree, or the council of the tree, see source creator and the council of three, where the tree equals the top dog, Re, who's wild and raw in a state of frenzy, to riddle, sift, and separate or throw off path in order to expand and grow, to streams and tributaries or tributes. Deer and anchorage, the king's tribe of Ace and Rye, the catcher in the rye, caught in a drunken stupor, face down in his weaving, a carpet of knotted pile and tapestry, to eat crow, tapes tree, to mask or surprise the family, or records them. Donnie and Marie, Don E and Mar Re, Little Lord and Little C. to do, brunette, smoke, strong and brown, hard timber, noble prince, hazel, chestnut, tawny, chief, lord, stolen property, at that time, conjecture, and opinion all comes up for Don with two N's. So he's the noble E, and she's the Mar, or C-E. The Prince E and the C-E, or seal. The P-R-I-N-C, S-E-A, and just the C. So again, the same thing was coming up with Julius and Jesus, that Jesus still comes up in Julius, and here Prince C includes the C, and then C alone. So P-R-I-N is also pregnancy, the first, scarce, and the rock who's clingy and dependent. So she and her clingy rock. Pregnancy, where G-N-A-N from pregnancy means neither, or pre-neither. Before neither was C, C, and C. See with your eyes, with your emotion, and with the Christ consciousness or the whispering bench. Where the prince is the pregnancy, and she is just the C. That he is the holder, the safe place of the sea. He the swollen sea, she is the calm sea. Andromeda is the drama of the father, not of her, Andromeda. And Ani, so Andromeda is Ani with the dramatic father, and Pegasus, who's pegged as Zeus at 1221, and us, or us, or Jesus in Julius, changing things from within the darkness, or infiltration. Infiltration, the tiger-lioness connection. From country to city, country with council, and city with shock ray system. So the city knows how to do it really fast, but it might hurt a lot more. So after the Emerald City, which by the way is EC, as we were just discussing CE, the 35 of the culmination of a vision, the afterbirth, the ending, the sloughing away of the old as the wounded warrior again. And then the elephant clears, big step by big step, broken and wrinkled, but bigger and stronger than ever before. Where B4 is the B of 13 and the 4 of the lambda leap, and the transition of the lambda leap. And this is where the Wizard of Oz turns on the color, as the elephant reaches the Queen of Pentacles. Ta-da! As Glenda is the Good Witch in pink. And Dorothy, or Dorothy, is no longer human after tapping 3 times. That Dor and Glen is the door to the mountain valley, the shore, the clean, pure, downright, and empathic, purified, and wiped clean. At 1231, the hanging man. And the chaos of life, of needing to leap to the 4 before starting over at the 1, between the 3 and the 1. So at 1232, on the journey of the hanging man, Dorothy's higher self is talking to her. So when Dorothy meets Glenda, she meets her higher self. At 1241 is the hanging man and the Holy Grail, the underlying energy of the 25 of the Knight of Wands and their deceit, after the 26 of the Page of Wands and their hostilities, going through the 7 of the community of bad experiences with females, of ascension of the Knight of Wands and their anger turned to deceit, and then strategist, as the 21 with preconceived map of the world, with feather and compass on bridge of ship in seeing the world, now becomes the 39 of the Knight of Cups, speaking his truth, with 7 and 25, and then 21 and 39. Right? 25 is a 7, along with the 7 of the Chariot and the Knight of Wands, and 29 and 39 are both 3s, the world and the Knight of Cups, and Pisces energy. So one is Saggy, Cancer energy, and the other one's Pisces energy, perhaps Scorpio there too. So each number and word have multiple perspectives. And here the 25 Knight of Wands is seen as a card-dealing deceptor or gambling man, after aggressive Page of Wands with sword was turned away or manipulated by driven women or those with looks and power. From Cancer and fire or cancerous fire, to journey from the root to the throat, in the sounding of the trumpets, or Leo and Sag sons, and Cancer daughter favored over them, or the key to the world, divine feminine, Pisces, and the Knight of Cups, from clothes to cards to pen to throat activation or trumpet, and wings, where wings is 2 U's in GS, or half, side, to oil, anoint, greasing the joint, the articulation of working on speech. So at 12:53, the Hanging Man and the Knight of Swords are messenger of truth, and the first card here of the 3 of blossoming abundance, as the Knight of Cups calls the Empress or Mother, and the 16 of patience with sudden liberties, or sudden patience with liberties taken away, with wings down, at 10, 11 to 12, or time's up, wings or hands or cards down on the table, the test is over, Lady Liberty crowned, in the shadows the mist, or missed the ceremony, and no one got to see their transformation, taking their time to graduation. So the 24 of Queen of Wands, or Omega, or the 1,000 Suns, or the Queen of Wands with adjacent possibilities without having to go higher, or class was full, or didn't apply for master's or PhD in time, or got it and it wasn't what you wanted at 1 o'clock on the dot. A lot of source energy backing up the 1 of the masculine and the magician. So the Knight of Cups, or Gabriel, is calling for abundance of patience at this time, to explore other windows or doors on your floor, or time to clean out, not add to your bundle. So the Knight with the Empress here, and the Queen of Wands with a lot of insight, or incitement between ladies here, or the Empress is suddenly the Queen of Wands, stepping down from power, motherhood, or retiring perhaps. At 102, the masculine and the feminine with space between, or the magician and high priestess or higher self. And the first card here being the 35 of the wounded warrior, the first chakra, Archangel Michael. This wasn't actually the first card, but the card in the pile at the end. So the throat was coming up, but also the solar plexus here being activated, right? So as soon as their throat chakra opens up, it gives them more confidence to go back down to the root and clear. After finding self-confidence in speech, going back to their roots, revisiting the wounded warrior's path. Or Gabe calling out Mike, the trumpet to the sword, Mike and Ike. Or what's love got to do with it? It's Tina's turn without red hots. So at 106, the masculine and the lovers or family, or a magician there with space between, and the underlying energy of the 25 of the Knight of Wands, honoring of that Knight of Wands as present to the moment with gifts. And the ship coming in with the truth said, and lady waiting. The Knight of Wands' trajectory is the 41, the Ace of Cups, the Holy Grail, and the well wishes, diving deep into uncharted territory to clear bad health, nursing or healthcare systems or groups, conflicts between the Emperor and the Empress, and connecting back to source before starting a new cycle, starting over as a new sunny day dawns, dressing up or dressing to serve in a suit or scrubs, or chief or residence, nursing the doctor or doctor needing patience, physician heal thyself, and is it the well water and Aaron Brockovich in Ohio? Interviewing those in Palestine, or Palace of Stein or Einstein? With the Queen of Pentacles, 22, with ascending split staircase, or the case of double doors and which to push. The red carpet only leads you so far. It comes a time where you must leap and follow your heart. The Queen of Pentacles and the Lion's Heart, or Big Pharma, castles in a cloud, or in the sun. A fair tale of the dragon's tail, Tinkerbell, Pete, and the dragon that lived by the sea, or fiery breath of the heart of the volcano, and the white ash, or bright light. With Aries and Leo on Sagittarius trail, 4488 1212, or Aries, Ram's Gate, Lion's Gate, and then Saggy or Archer's Gate at 1212, where the 4488 and 1212 equals 1344. Again, the 13 of B44, or B, that double L 11 lambda leap. And 44 is Hercules, the transition of her harvest, which I looked up 1344 in Gematria, and the first entry was 4444. Number 2, twin flame Messiah. Number 3, when does a bird sing? And number 4, I am thankful for my blessings. Number 7 was Shakespeare. And is that shake a sphere or shake a spear? As the chakra and Shakespeare both came up together, as the chakra is the shock of the ray, where Shakespeare is the shock of the spear. The sword and the stone, the ray and the E, where E is one and equal and congruent to, the word and the tone, the path to one, to go through the wellness and illness to get to the kingdom of heaven, brought to the queendom of earth. He, the Avon, heaven is he, Avon, the vertical passage to the cave or the pit, with vertical shafts or river and oven, to have and even, boiling water, comes up to the top, of fever seeks to break from the body. So again, this energy of boiling up from underneath the ground, from a cave with a vertical exit or entry, the same energy as having a fever, right, and sweating it out. It has to boil to the surface and escape from somewhere. So the earth is the ear to the nth degree, who hears the rumbling of his fever, infiltrating to break through from within. The wounded warrior is seated in her, the overlord structures of the sun and the moon child, planted within their structure. The moon child little girl with a lion's heart was planted inside a masculine structure as the 38 Queen of Cups, in order to work hard and slave for them and weave her web. For the 28 of the power man from Mars, with a heart bursting forth with the key to the garden as her lion's heart. So again, this is the feminine having the masculine have planted their seed in her heart, which then becomes them as they infiltrate her, as she infiltrates the structure, and then he can work within her, just as God is in you, as you, in order to infiltrate and break down the structure. Or the sun heart in the moon child is activated by fire and snaps as the Queen of Wands. So here's the Queen of Cups becomes the Queen of Wands as the fire lion's heart is being activated, or nipping their heels too hard to get them in the right direction. Seen as toxic or cancerous, but gardens need toxic plants to weed and test the waters, to examine and magnify details and microorganisms, and it sounds like Erin Brockovich. The 19 and the 18th on the Fool's Journey here, the Sun and the Moon, the 19 and the 18, and the Fool's Journey of the 38 Queen of Cups. At the 28 of the Twin Flames, which happens to be my address, the power number 7, which happens to be my power number, and the key to life lesson 44, which is my life lesson number. So they're using me as an example of the Divine Feminine. So Hercules is destined with the north node of the lion's heart activated by Lilith to the wounded warrior's path, lined with butterflies like the south of France, and transformation over and over again at 141, which is the one of the masculine, the 41 of the Holy Grail. And I saw actually in my meditation, I think it was last night, I saw literally like fairy dust, which I never see. But I was literally saying fairy dust, like a cartoon. It was beautiful. So at 141, the first card here is the 6 of the mature woman, the mother, the empress, and the 21 of the empty family room, complete, coming full circle, or without Pisces, or mother's home of the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Wands, or wounded warrior, or loving son who fought for his mother, and mother who fought for her daughter, or energy of the woman waiting for the soldier to come home, or the women, multiple women, waiting for the soldiers to come home. So there's another wound that needs to heal. At 146, the masculine, and then the children of Six of Cups. Or while the Knight of Cups away, cleaning up or spring cleaning now in February, and then the 28 of the twin flame, or fresh choice of path, with expectation of new possibilities without changing levels or dimensions, or twin people connections. Dorothy is back home, having learned her lesson, with ever-present higher self, with pink and sparkles, seeing clearly now the rain has gone, clearing the windows or replacing them with fresh eyes to see with two cards, 39 and 14, the community and the 9 of Wands fox. The Knight of Cups with community and the wounded warrior or saggy fox leaving the hen house, or the Knight of Cups speaking their truth about the wounded warrior and therefore chasing that inner victim away as fire had infiltrated them to work its way out from within, stirring up emotions and purifying before purging out. The two keys, the portals, the mouth to the stomach and the vagina to the womb, the vertical shafts to the caves, bottom up and top down, infiltrating from two sides of the same coin to work their way out the other end. Fire manipulation and water manipulation, where one burns in pain quickly and the other seeps and floods, causing mold and illness long term. The F of the digamma energy and the whale. What was coming up here? I'm sorry, fire and water. So the F from fire is digamma and the W from whale is the two U's. Or what comes up here, remember that the gamma was originally written like a 7, but like a boomerang. And so 72 is that right here, the F and the W. The 7 boomerang and the 2 of the two U's, which 7 boomerang, and then the 2, which is also the Q. So 72 and 72, or gamma boomerang, queen times 2, equals 144, or leap to heart number 1 and then heart number 2 in the 144 of the 1, which is the leap from source into man, and then the first cycle, the 3D cycle of 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the second cycle of the 6, 9, 8 pod, the 6, 7, 8, 9, with the crown being key, where source leaps into the human to 3, 4, 5, which then leaves the 35 open here, the wounded warrior's path, as the 23 King of Wands, 45, which is the purge card, as a new cycle of the Knight of Pentacles, of expanding, contracting, and reflecting, collapsing polarities with each step like the elephant, where the 1 goes into the 2, 3, 4, 5 in the energetic exchange of 34 in the middle, where the first cycle is referencing here as the God to the dog connection. When we first come in, we leap in as a 3D being, after having been a dog perhaps, into this new human connection, the Knight of Wands energetic exchange to the King of Wands, now purging, and then moving up to the next cycle of the pod, the 6, 7, 8, 9, where the crown is the key to open up the 2 peas in a pod, where all is good and doog at the same time, which is liquid yogurt with mint, and then planting a seed with dog to watch it grow to 2 peas in a pod. So at 212 is the divine feminine and the hanging man, where the 14 of boundaries of the patient angel, or Sagittarius with auric keys on path, to the sun rising, or in other words the dawn, with the next card being 41 after 14, reflecting each other. The Ace of Cups, as above so below, heaven and earth, and then 44 becomes the beacon, which means be lighter, and we have 14, 41, and 44, which is 144, 144. Whether tree at lake or mountain at sea, calm reflects, but a beating wave causes lights to go on, infiltrating through the mountain a glow-up of her harvest, 144, 144, which breaks down the 9 and 9, which is 18, and then the card 55, which the 144 and 144 can also be 54 and 54 of the 2 messengers of the Page of Swords. But then the cards were literally 44 to 55, which is her harvest to his truth. the red root shaman with peace pipe, teepee, and how. Her harvest, his truth, and Agent 39, who's the Knight of Cups, and the emerald green heart, and Agent 99, who's the high heart, of the 18 of 144144, of both of them. At 220, which is 0 behind the 22 of the Fool's Journey, in that leap to the 44, and another leap to the 44, 2 leaps on the Fool's Journey to her harvest, or Hercules, 44, which 14 plus 4 equals 18, and 18, which equals 36, which is Atlas. So what is her harvest without Atlas's direction? And 144 to 144 equals 288, or 2 dancing side by side, where 2, remember, is capital Q, and the 88 dance is the energetic exchange and energetic exchange of the masculine and feminine dancing side by side. But then the Q comes in as the twin flame leap from 2 sides of the same coin at the same time. 2 energetic exchanges face off, grounding and integrating to merge into oneness, which then is Hieros Gamos, which is the Q coming into the 2 8s, becomes then the infinity symbol, where the Q's tail is part of the X in the middle of the 2 O's, like the torus or toroidal field, which then becomes the trajectory. The Q, of course, is the laying down together to merge 8 and 8 into one infinity symbol with directional pull. 2 8s overlapped, creating love to infinitum. At 230, the divine feminine and the union. And the first card here is the 18 of Mother Earth. And the ice cube grounding and support. Justice, which is just ice, cubed. Or the queen's bed, Q bed. Cubed is literally Q bed. The queen's chambers in the pyramids is 11 cubits. And 11 is also justice, or just ice. Mother Nature of 3, 6, 9, which equals 18. Atlas 9, or the Empress and the Ace of Pentacles, or the 6, 9, 8 pod here, where there's a map of one and all, or a world of compassion. The all is also the all, AWL, the whole maker, or the 3 musketeers, always with a 4th on the side, the blind side, to lead you to 6, 9, 8 pod, with 7 being the crowning key. See, there's always a 4th around. The 4 to 7 leap, or frog to prince, or footprints in ghosting. 3, 6, 9 is the 3D, 4D, 5D to the 10, 11, and 12, 60 of manifestation, of 11, 1, 1, after the 5D, 22 stationing, then to the 7D double zeros of the infinity, or that's that Hieros Gamos, or ghosting, or googly eyes connection, disappearing together. The 16 of gold and sudden hole at the Y in the road of the G rail, the Holy Grail, the hole at the Y in the road of God's rail, the train to the Ancient One, of sudden gold, of epiphany, which is epi, or epinephrine, or adrenaline, under your fanny. At 242, the feminine and the 2 of cups. The 34 of the energetic exchange of the ancestors comes in here, as the ancestors is the ants, which also means onces, and then we have tours. So ancestors is the ants' tours. And again, the ants are the guides at the arcs. The sudden emptiness of the crown and the life bulb to the heart of the grail. The twin towers, the seat of God and the seat of the human, merge to 0 point. So again, this energy of the cup of the mouth of God, of the 4th chakra, which also is supposed to look like a holy grail. And then the holy grail at the heart to the womb, where the solar plexus is the stem between them. The seat of God and the seat of human merge to 0 point, field vacuumed, right? So nice and empty inside, so you have a clear channel. This is the infinity symbol. The 2 of cups come together as the valve in a vein, right? The valve is 2 cups coming together as a vein valve would, or a penis vein pumped up. So then we literally have the valve here's the dinner plate setting again, with the circle in the middle of the plate and then the silverware on either side. We had 16, 21, and 16. The two 16s are towers, and the 21 is the world between. The dinner setting of the world in the middle and two pillars on either side is the world, which equals the space between, which will be the 0-point field as heaven on earth. That literally earth is the 0-point field when we finally get into heaven on earth. At 247 is the feminine and polarities, and then the 447 of synchronicities and heaven in your eyes, and also the heart to the crown as 4 to 7. The first card here is the 7 of water, of dolphins and moo, and the 29 of the blue Madonna, seriously aligned, as the sun shines through the water of the mother, seriously aligned and present in the moment to gifts and gratitude. As the 19 of the dragon's sun is all fired up, as Cancer to Leo, vehicle of the sun, the body of water, as the mother gives birth to the pink. The 26 of the Page of Wands, the little lion's heart, or the apple of his eye. The eye of the tiger equals, at 251, 51 being the King of Swords, the eye of the tiger equals his daughter, his progeny, the mother's lineage to be protected. The friendly dolphin becomes the fiery dragon with their daughter, of JC and Mary Magdalene, chasing away each other's inner victim through the fire heart and the sweetheart, and trusting your journey of 32 to 50, the potential gateway of the family, magical family tree of heaven on earth, as that magic place at the 0-point field. The 37 of unconditional love, or country and city and burbs. The 48 of the wild child, of Aquarius, of hope and happiness within. The 28 of the twin flame, bountiful harvest, of the wake-up call. The rose, right? The flower of the rose is the rising to higher ground, with little fairy high above the sheep. The 2 of the divine feminine, with butterfly to dark side of the moon and back. The illumination of the 2, the energetic exchange and vulnerability of energetic exchange in the hours of love. The divine feminine fighting the dark, and divine masculine laying to rest in the 35 wounded warrior culmination of vision quest, as transformation is confirmed and the dead leaves go back to the earth. At 3:23, and at 3 o'clock I took a walk with Teddy. That's funny because that's it has to do with the timelines of the execution. So at 3:23, and again, here's the King of Wands coming up again, the 47 of the laughter of the little boy avatars riding the clouds, getting ready for spring. From 3 to 5 of the wounded warrior, to 4 to 7 of the heart to the crown, synchronized horses in thunder rolls, as the mother is about to give birth. With 14, 38, and 36 as the next cards, the patient angels of 4 seasons are hearing their laughter and saying, I want one. Watching the little ones play with assurance to the Queen of Cups in acceptance of love, as we have assurance and acceptance here, 2 different ways of writing ass as ASS and ACC, where assurance, there's 2 different asses here, where assurance is you are ants, or you are once, and the other one, tests the ants, or tests once, or patient ants and those who test their patience, as the wounded warrior dies, and dreams of sugar plum fairies dance in their heads, laughing all the way, ha ha ha, as the fire goes out and the water turns on, assurance of the old and acceptance of the new, or fire becoming 2 waters, conception and the splitting of the cells, as the wounded warrior patient and the Queen of Cups Atlas, as Atlas leaves the wounded warrior behind, completing the cycle, letting sleeping dogs lie and waking cats scratch. In the map of intent or intuition kicks in. Esther Williams, Grace her, and Will I ams, as crown packs a wallop when fire is dipped in water, human bathing and capped, turned on the light switch, fire in water and water in fire, steam and misting, as blood, sweat, and tears. The fire becomes steamy or smoldering instead of burning, and the water mists instead of crying. The watery air of ether and fiery earth of plasma liquefy in plasma ether or muddied water and hydrated earth. Dirtying air and reconstituting earth at 344. Now listen closely regarding free energy and clean water. 344 is the mother and her harvest. And we're dirtying the air and reconstituting the earth, mystifying and purifying the way the elements come together. Elementary, my dear Watt son, creating energy by making waves as human males chill out in a slow, steamy burn. Purifying water by filtering waves by firing up the earth through peaks and vertical shafts as females heat up in misty waters or mud piles, as fiery mountains become infused with powerful waves and water is filtered by salty charge, tempering the most volatile volcano and purifying the dirtiest of waters. And immediately what came up is something they took me to recently, which is the ice caverns in Idaho, Twin Falls, Idaho, which the Shoshone brought that up, the ice caves there, because the ice caves are not far from the volcano. And there's a vertical shaft there down into the cave. So there's this energy coming up here of using the fire from the volcanoes to use the power of that along with the waves from the ocean, and by the water going through the volcano, it will naturally purify. And the salt came up in Magenta's video about being able to hold the charge of the energy. So literally, you know, burning through the water, which purifies the water, right? What can purify better than a molten lava volcano? But at the same time, the cooling of the ice caves, there's this combination of the two that will like kill two birds with one stone, right? Because we need the geology of the geology of the power source, and then again the volcano and the waves for the clean water. But they both come together in the same wave to do both at the same time is what I'm getting. So that's big. So after the Jujubee's truth here, the two Jews who be Julius versus Jesus, and Mary Magdalene and Jesus as well, and the JCs, both Julius Caesar and Jesus Christ, being the trajectory of the toroidal field. Again, two sides of the same coin, the 4 and the 3 of the Empress and the Emperor, with space between, where this tiger stalks, the hyena turns away, with stinger out, ready to jump mouse who's hiding, as the mouse is now with Black Panther on their side, as the tiger jumps up, and the hyena becomes a mouse. And then the panther complains, as two come eye to eye, the light source and the dark PA, which is coming up as the light and the sound. The higher self watches all of this, as the Tai Pa Dr. L. TI is source, PA is father, DR is doctor, obviously, and then EL, Elohim, at the right angle. The light and sound, and the dragon that breathes in, as the elephant takes over, clearing step by step, the ancient one who's been through the fire, with a flame in their trunk, and red ire. At 411, urgent message here, the horse with urgent info, as the cheetah pounces on it from the zebra's perspective. The fire seed in the zebra is coming out to play with Horsey or Mr. Ed as the elephants approach, or above EDs come L's. Educated masters Above them, the EDs, come the enlightened Elohim, the divine co-creation, versus the right angles or 99 degrees of angels and compassion. The tarantula, which is the Y in the road basically, the throne of the ant, you angels, UN2, which means ghost or demon, angels and demons, the high road of one, at the crossroads of Dharma, at the wound where the moth meets the hawk. The moth drawn into the flame, the wound, the accident, or the performance, as the hawks clear the air to become dragonflies, two hearts as one, with a beautiful mind. At 418, the Emperor and the Moon, or 18, which is Kai. As we go from 418 to the next page, 419, which is again the Moon and the Sun, and the Lambda Leap, the underlying energy of the Knight of Swords who rushes back to delivery as winter meets spring, as the partner Page of Pentacles extends an invite, or express and snail mail converge. The Page of Pentacles and the Knight of Pentacles hand deliver to the Queen of Wands, watching the Magician or Gemini make magic, or the Queen of Wands and King of Wands with Magician and Lover between them, or two Geminis, or Virgo and Gemini, or magic lovers, or singing, or another kind of telegram, or in-person message comes in, or slave drivers in the past are now taking it slow, finding it delivers more of a punch, as the King of Cups and the King of Pentacles deal with the wounded warrior emperor defensive with the Queen of Cups in court, or Libra, Cancer, Pisces, or Virgo, or all the people behind the emperor with his power and money, as the Magician or Gemini puts on a show, and the Page of Wands is inspired, or quiet Queen of Cups or High Priestess all of a sudden fires up, pulling the twin flame Page of Cups in with the Page of Swords or message from the Queen of Pentacles, or going to kids' party this weekend, or three scenarios here of delivery, show, court, or kids. At 4:30 of the Leap of the Emperor to the House or Union, and the Dark Knight, the Hermit, or Scorpio to Virgo, or Fiery Dark Knight and Watery Queen of Pentacles meet face to face with words to say. With the Six of Cups at the intersection, after emptying themselves, freeing the King of Swords to clear the air, with tears perhaps, or freed after a lot of stress, with Capricorn Sovereign, or temptation to be single, and coming full circle, the Queen of Swords speaks to the Empress, or the King of Swords and the Queen of Swords are in court, perhaps the Emperor and the Empress, Gemini and Capricorn, or Aries and Taurus, and the Knight of Cups meets up with the Knight of Wands and hit it off right away, both getting their wish. At 4:36, the Emperor and the Weight of the World, or with a map of intent. All right, you guys, it's 2:30. Okay, I have a minute. The read on the table isn't that long, so we can do that. Okay. So now finally the read on the table. So here's the basic read from the SIRIAN Starseed deck. And then the full read is here. Okay. All right, so this was done on the 19th. And it was cut at 6:48, the Lovers and the Eight of Cups. And then I finished clarifying at 7:01 to 2, which is the 7 of the Chariot, and then the 1 and 2, the Masculine and Feminine, or Magician and High Priestess, or Higher Self. So the major arcana here in the read were Ascension, or the World, and Guidance, which is the Hierophant. Before the read was Strength and the Star, and after the read was Transition, which is the Death card. So there were 3 cups, 3 swords, 2 wands, and 1 pentacle here, 33 and 21, which is the Christ vibration and the world, or completion, coming full circle. We had the Queen of Cups, Knight of Cups in the read with the King of Swords, and the 9 of Swords is there as well. Before the read is the Knight of Cups with the 9 of Cups, and after the read is the Queen of Wands with the Page of Cups. We had 2 4s, 2 8s, and 9s. So the 44, again, of Hercules, the 4 of Cups, grounding, integrating, and mastering how to receive love. The 88 of the Twins Dance, the 99 of Compassion and Endings, and the 1 2 of the 12 of the Hanging Man. Oh, we have 11 too. There's 2 1s. So Justice is here too. The 48 of the 8 of Cups, walking away within. The 89 of the Phi energy of expanding, contracting, or reflecting in the middle. The 24, the Queen of Wands. The 45, the 5 of Cups. 57 of the 3 of Swords. And 78, which is the end of the deck, the 10 of Pentacles, or Heaven on Earth. So the code line is all about intuition and love, and the number 8, that third 8, to complete the 2-8 dance into the infinity. And the way these messages came up about intuition and love: after death, show of power with the 4 or the foe. After death, show of power twice. Ice, a guidance with the 8 of Pentacles, or aligning with your work, your creativity, with getting your ducks in a row. The energy of the show of power regarding the heart and the madman, under the influence of, and to miss comes up again today here. The energy of the user, to ignite, to use ice, a guidance or guide dance, and work to align, or dance of crystals, which has to do with time, money, and energy, or practical things. And Adonai was also coming up here. I subdue my Lord, or Yahweh. I subdue, to follow, fly, miss, omit, or contract my Lord, to work eagerly, a commitment to work and align with multiple diplomas on my wall. Right? Maybe this is their initial, agreement with God. And then after death, UFO, subdued my Lord, in someone's possession, with commitment or contract to work on intuition and love, not to possess, but to be possessed. UFO, between pillars of doom, now, both the 2 and the 9, even to follow a guidance system, or married to their work. My Lord, switch on the power of the heart. My Lord, in your possession, I commit to God's work, to intuition and love. So you see the process of the perspective changing. So we start here with the Queen of Cups reversed, and beneath that's the Knight of Cups upright, the Strength card reversed, 9 of Cups, Star, and 4 of Pentacles all reversed, as the Knight of Cups needs courage and self-love to get their wish to heal and come out of the cave, no longer to be the caveman or Neanderthal man, with the Queen of Cups reversed, grounding, integrating, and mastering, or learning how to receive love. The Knight of Wands reversed, ignoring their love in a heated exchange, with the Queen of Swords reversed, dissatisfied, where both being arrogant and fighting like cats and dogs, where neither are happy with themselves. Post-war, or PTSD, of the Hermit reversed, going crazy with new information knocking them off balance, to moving to peace with depressed 9 of Pentacles reversed, or dependent, or their own loss of power, money, and independence, and hanging out with dependent, and a leak in the ceiling, or falling off the seesaw and bumped their head, and now seeing new perspectives. Where the King of Wands reversed, lovers coming clean in recovery from exile, injury, or illness. The King of Wands reversed is tired of the lovers or Gemini's sneakiness, or divine lover coming clean about sexual energy and recovery. And the Fool free without tools, or to be insecure, no longer flirting post-war of the roses, putting it all out there to be touched. The patient angel, Saggy with attitude, or potion maker. With Aries and Sag upright, but Virgo and Gemini reversed here. No more drunken nights under the bed. No more casual sex with the one who flirts with everyone. And almost stepping on Bunny and Dove so many times, or alcoholism at 754, the Chariot and the Page of Swords. So with spirituality coming up here, 77, and beneath that is the spiritual career of 78, which these are the highest energies in the deck. 77 and 78, right? The ultimate single person and the ultimate family. The Queen of Cups reversed, hanging with patience and or Saggy dependent. The Queen of Cups reversed, Pisces or Capricorn, patient with spirituality and or Sagittarius. Or the Queen of Cups reversed, Pisces, Capricorn, and Saggy, spiritually dependent. Or Pisces, Saggy, Capricorn is depressed at 77 and 78 that it couldn't get better than this. And so what do I have to look forward to? Kind of energy. So the recent past is the Two of Cups, dumping a load with the Hermit reversed and Dark Knight reversed, or the Queen of Cups reversed who got hurt and lost their mind in a near-death experience or Dark Night of the soul. The Page of Wands is excited to receive a passionate offer from Justice, while Justice or Libra is offering love as the Knight of Cups to the world. Pisces or unhappy family, or Judge giving tools to the Page of Wands and love to the Ten of Cups reversed family to end the cycle. As the foundation here is the Knight of Swords who calls themselves out, or the Knight of Swords is judging of the Knight of Swords' reflection in a bold move of the twin, or Aquarius reversed and Cancer upright here. Both Knight of Swords holding back calls, announcements, and or their pride, or lashing out at each other without a word. The central energy is completing a cycle, ascending past unhappy family, for the Knight of Cups to catch up with the Six of Wands journeyman on their way to heal one who's grieving. With Virgo, Scorpio, and Aquarius reversed and Libra upright here, challenged by guidance, marriage, commitment, or tradition, or God, or the traditional God, coming together needing strength of clarity to implement a plan, with secret passion as both come out at once. With the Seven of Pentacles reversed and the Four of Pentacles reversed in this deck is the Divine Feminine's heart and the Divine Masculine's heart. She's in the E-Tower, he's in the Bat Cave, right? He's coming from underneath in the cave, coming out. She's coming from the E-Tower, coming down to meet. No longer keeping to themselves. At 8-11, the Dance of Justice. And now the King of Swords in separation with the Ten of Pentacles family and the Empress reversed, and free to connect with the Two of Cups. First things first, or first thing up early, the Queen of Pentacles reversed, or the Empress reversed connecting on deception of the Queen of Pentacles reversed and the Nine of Pentacles reversed, which could be a mother and daughter, or a dependent of the Empress, in a twist of fate and pushed to the limit, not working out as the wounded warrior surrenders to bliss of the King of Pentacles, patient, angel, or Sagittarius, defenseless to the energies of the flame. And soon here is the Four of Cups, wishing on a star, uncomfortable King of Cups reversed, unable to sleep, or awakening and coming out, or rising above. The King of Swords is trapped by, or with the Page of Swords reversed, who may be lying and spying, or a good performer, and the twin flames are seeing themselves as the Nine of Swords hiding in the woods, up at night, seeing new perspectives, or suffering in silence, feeling hung out to dry, in a split, divide, lie, or defeat, and finding peace with it, with the Page of Cups upright present after a sudden event or epiphany, or a synchronicity, or ghosting, or unknown factor of the Magician reversed and the Queen of Cups reversed, Pisces or Capricorn, and Scorpio and Gemini or Virgo reversed. The Page of Cups is upright, the Queen of Cups reversed, hanging out together, and around the twins or how they're seen is the Eight of Wands reversed in heated exchange, the world complete with the Emperor upright and Pisces too, with Aries upright as well. The Knight of Pentacles reversed, blocking the Six of Cups reversed or kids from them. And then we have the Eight of Pentacles as the block reversed. Juggling, performing with issues at work or in need of vacation or kids out of control. Remember the challenge was marriage, establishment, or religion, and blocked by work. With love and intuition being 6 and 22, the Lovers and the Fool's Journey, and new passion, spiritual partnership of abundance of 27 and 88. So the Ace of Wands is new passion at 824, the Dance of the Queen of Wands, or the crowning of Omega, defenseless to affection and downturn, or things not going their way, as the King of Pentacles, Sagittarius, may be defenseless to the Ace of Pentacles upright offer, to end the war with the Queen of Wands reversed, marriage, or Taurus upright, with the Queen of Wands reversed and the Page of Pentacles reversed, not sharing, detoxing, or not sharing a detox or scam, or a payoff here, with Taurus upright and Capri reversed, after a play for their affections to get through to turn things in their direction, and offer to the Queen of Wands reversed and the Page of Pentacles reversed to end the war or marriage, for new passion or flame, as the King of Swords with flame for the Queen of Swords reversed, grieving after death of dark night, transition or ending, with the Page of Cups upright on the stairway to heaven, in a move or visit, or destabilizing home, or Scorpios reversed and Pisces is upright with synchronicities, or grieving through the portal to birth and ascend, which can be destabilizing at 8:35, the strength of the wounded warrior, or Leo and Sag. The Knight of Cups is weak, unhappy and alone and depressed, as the Divine Masculine's hearts coming out of the Batcave to the Queen of Cups reversed, with the Knight of Swords 5D messages of the Nine of Swords suffering in silence, stress, sleeplessness, or sister perhaps, or not sleeping with the with the Eight of Wands reversed in a heated exchange with the Two of Cups and the whole world in their right hand, challenged by guidance, religion, establishment, or marriage, Taurus, or Pisces, Divine Feminine upright, and challenged by Taurus or commitment to the establishment, the grounding, integrating, and mastering of how to receive love while working overtime, or things not working out, as the King of Swords is upright with a new passion, or lighting a flame under the Queen of Swords reversed after getting schooled for giving affection just because the little lizard is watching. Saggy, Libra, Taurus, and Capri here, bored of work and overtime with flame, for the Queen of Swords reversed, so sad in the never-ending story of the Page of Cups sweetheart ascending, of puppy love taking spiraling steps with heaven in their eyes at 8:43, the dance of coming together, and the Queen of Cups reversed with the Two of Cups, and the Knight of Swords complete with the King of Swords, challenged by guidance, marriage, establishment, or tradition, and suffering in silence, or sister, or stress, or boredom in the heat of the moment, or a heated exchange, and overtime, ascending, challenged by commitment and overtime to ignite a flame or plant a seed, under the Queen of Swords reversed, grieving after death of the Page of Cups, or their innocence spiraling out of the atmosphere at 8:46, the dance of the inner children. And that is it. Is that next? Yep. All right. Just a quick energy card, you guys. And what is our takeaway from all of this? There's 2, 3, 4 cards came out. There we go. 4, 4, 4, 4 came up in the beginning. The door to personal healing and happiness. The 34 of energetic exchange, bringing the outside in. The dove, purifying the air. As it's spring cleaning's coming up a lot. 40 is the Page of Cups of innocence in your power. The 6th chakra, Archangel Metatron, the magnetism of Metatron. Right? And again, it's such power in the innocence and purity of the child. And the energetic exchange of a clean environment. It doesn't mean you have to be perfectly neat. It means that you need to live healthily and bring some outside inside as well, because it helps with your purifying your oxygenation. So again, we have the third eye here and the arrows of love, and there's a love dove there as well, and the 37 of the King of Cups and unconditional love, and the 3rd chakra. So we have 2 chakras here, the solar plexus and the 3rd eye. Archangel Chamuel coming up here, of confidence, innocence, confidence, and shining your light, bringing the outside in and the inside out. And then we have the 42 of coming together with the woman holding the coin. And she doesn't look very happy. So is she mad at the masculine, or is this someone who's not a nice person? I mean, it can be both situations. So, and again, the need to step back and see the bigger picture. Being present in the moment to your gifts and gratitude. To see the world. And just like she's peeking around the corner now, look. to see what's going on. She looked so animated right there. The underlying energy is door to value. What is it that you value? Be sure the valley, so the mountain valley came up as very significant. Make sure you know what you value, what's most important to you. After vacation or time in the sun, Leo energy, the Magician, which is also Gemini, perhaps Virgo as well. It's a lot of leadership energy here in the sun. After taking a break and getting plenty of relaxation and sun, make sure you know what's most important to you, what you value. And remember to leap to source, number 4, before going from 3 to 1. Okay? So again, the third eye, the solar plexus, the quantum entanglement, and the innocence. And again, untangling the ties of karmic knots using the power of innocence and purity, again, and the power of nature. And the energetic exchange, the arrows of love of the Page of Cups or puppy love, and the King of Cups. King of Cups, Page of Cups, could be father and child as well. And then the partnership here of the woman holding the coin over here, or the power structure. And the need to take a step back and see the bigger picture. Okay? And don't forget, we're talking about infiltrating from within power structures too. So that could be a necessary evil, right, to deal with, right? They're both winged over here and she's not. And I don't know if she's just mad at someone or if she's not necessarily a nice person. But this is people infiltrating within the system to take a step back and see the bigger picture in the whole scheme of things. Okay? All right, guys. I hope you appreciate all that information that came through. Remember your water, your rest, your joy, your nature. Follow your guidance. And remember, and this came up too with magenta, that when we epiphanize, we create an energy burst. Like, so if someone gives you the information without you doing it yourself, having an epiphany, you don't get that same burst of energy that you're contributing right to the collective. So it's so important to not necessarily give you all of the list of answers, you know, one by one by one. You know, this is why everything comes through in metaphors, because your epiphanizing is part of the process of raising the vibration. So that's very important to know. Okay, guys, I'll see you guys soon. Have an amazing day. And yeah, rise and be love. Love and rise, guys. Bye.